out of Akron, Ohio, representing Team Popping the Boys, the headline god, Jeremy Lambert, and his co-host, speaking out of Atlanta, Georgia, representing more than one royal family, the king of indie viewing, Stephen Jensen. And this is the Spotlight on Fightful.
Welcome everyone to the Spotlight. Shout out to Big Dick MLJ for the intro as always. I actually met MLJ this past Sunday at GCW, Jensen.
Nice.
And he was on Indeed. This week. That's up on Fightful Overbooked if everybody wants to go check out the interview Reg and Mike did with MLJ. I'm Jeremy Lambert. That's Stephen Jensen. A lot to talk about this week, Jensen. Big weekend. There's a show every single day. We have Impact Under Siege tonight. We have WWE Night of Champions tomorrow afternoon. And then we have NXT and AEW Double or Nothing on Sunday. Jensen, how are you, buddy?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Got a long day today. This, and then my shoot job, and then I think I'm going to go to the movies again tonight afterwards. Am I going to see that Machine movie, that Burt Kreischer?
To see Fast and Furious again, right?
No, that movie is terrible. Although I do get that. I did get this.
That's good. I like that. What? Why are you hating on Fast X? Why? I almost fired you on your birthday.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I understand what I'm getting into when I go to these kind of movies. So like, it's not like I'm hating on it, expecting something differently, if that makes sense. It's just, I mean, this would take a whole podcast to just talk about my thoughts on Fast and Furious. It's just so insanely ridiculous. And I don't want to get into spoilers and stuff, but the way they try to explain certain things, but all that said, I get, it's like the biggest movie franchise like ever or whatever at this point. So there's like, they've been doing it for like 20 years. So yeah, I mean, I had a good time at the theater. Like the popcorn was good and the pretzel bites were good and the drink was good. And the nice recliner seats were comfy and stuff like that. But yeah, so let me put it this way, without giving out too many spoilers here, there's going to be a small spoiler alert, but nothing like that crazy. To me, the franchise pretty much jumped the shark during the safe thing, like the safe, like going through the city, like whatever movie that was years ago. And this was like an extension of that. And I was like, I think most people would have just liked to pretend like that didn't happen, but instead they made an entire, like almost like sequel based on that story. And they like recreated it again to an extent. So anyway, yeah, I thought there was a lot of, and there were so many points in this movie where I was just like, okay, like I audibly like did a few like, oh, like out loud in the theaters where like people around me could like definitely hear me. And I didn't even mean to do it. Anyways, Jeremy, I know you love this stuff. So yeah, I got my Jacob Toretto Funko Pop though for you. So
Jensen's fired. SP3 is fired.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody is fired. I'm firing everybody on the Fightful Overbooked media call.
I like this comment. This is funny.
That'd be awesome.
Honestly, they should jump a shark. They literally should. Like,
yeah,
because they're self-aware. They're self-aware enough to where I know in the last movie Tyrese was like, what's his name in the movie? I can't remember. I don't remember like any of their actual names. I just know like their names in real life. But Tyree Gibson, he in the last movie there was points where he was literally like, y'all, I think we're superheroes and invincible because like all this stuff keeps happening to us. And I'm like, yeah, that's pretty much exactly what has happened. And at this point, I can tell they're gonna go like one of two directions here. Either they're gonna like
into space in Fast 9.
I know. I saw the dude from Tokyo Drift who popped back up goes into space. What's so funny is when I saw these movies originally, I thought Tokyo Drift was terrible because like the first one was great and the second one was like still pretty good. And I thought Tokyo Drift was awful, and I was like, okay, this will be the end of it. Now looking back, Tokyo Drift's like my favorite one because like these movies have gotten so insanely ridiculous. But I'm looking forward to when they people watch Always Sunny will understand this reference. They'll eventually Thunder Son the whole franchise over to Little B, probably his son. So like you can tell they're like they want to do the handoff at some point. So Fast and Furious will probably just go on forever to like in some incarnation. So
good. It should. It 100% should. Guys, we're starting early today because there's the NXT media call at 10 o'clock that I have to be part of. And that is why this episode is at 8:30 and not 9:30 when we usually are. This episode is sponsored by Wrestle Rumble. Everyone head over to WrestleRumble.com. Go sign up. You can sign up for the WWE Night of Champions Pick'em, or you could sign up for the AEW Double or Nothing Pick'em, or you can sign up for both. There's nothing stopping you from signing up to both. First place in the Double or Nothing Pick'em gets $500. Second place gets $200. And then third, fourth, and fifth get $100. And then Night of Champions first place gets $500 and the World Heavyweight Title Championship belt. That's a really great prize right there. Not only do you get $500, but you get that WWE World Heavyweight Championship belt, the secondary title. According to AJ Styles, you get a replica of that as well. That'll be won at Night of Champions. Second place and third place get $100 for the WWE Night of Champions Pick'em. So a lot of opportunities to win some money from our pals at Wrestle Rumble, and you can get a free entry into the Wrestle Rumble Pick'ems. All you got to do is leave a Wrestle Rumble in the chat. We've mentioned this throughout the show, but leave a Wrestle Rumble into the chat. We will put them in a randomizer. We will pick some names, and then you will contact Stephen Jensen and get your free entry into the Wrestle Rumble Pick'em. That is how this works. Shout out to Wrestle Rumble. Shout out to Matt, who's sponsoring our show pretty much every episode since every pay-per-view week episode since WrestleMania, right?
Yeah, they have. Yeah, so it's been great. They've been a part of the show. Obviously we're longtime friends with Matt. He's been on the show. Did a spotlight interview that y'all can check out a while back as well. And yeah, what we'll do is we'll give away it'll be 3 winners today. Like normal, we'll do 3 picks. But the difference between this show and normal is you'll get entries to the WWE Night of Champions and AEW Double or Nothing. You'll get 2. We'll give you entries to both of those contests today. 3 people will get entries to both contests. And Jake Schwal, who's in this chat on the show often watching, he won $100 with a free entry last pay-per-view. So and that was just a couple weeks ago for
Backlash.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, there's been so many. I can't remember which one's which. But yeah, he won a free entry from Backlash from us, and he got second place and won $100. So there you go. There's people on this show winning free entries and winning real money. So just and I already see people putting Wrestle Rumble in the chat. We'll put all your names in a randomizer at the end of the show, and we'll pick out 3 names, and you'll get your shot at all these prizes on AEW's Double or Nothing and WWE's Night of Champions. Shout out Wrestle Rumble.
Wrestle Rumble. Matt, the team over there is fantastic. All right, let's get into it. We got a lot to talk about. Today with all of these shows. Let's start with
over 1 million fans and a great number in the demo tuned in. And it was a great show, and I think it's been a run of great shows.
AEW Double or Nothing this Sunday from Las Vegas, headlined by the 4 Pillars match with MJF defending the AEW World Heavyweight Championship against Darby Allin, Sammy Guevara, and Jungle Boy Jack Perry. Jensen, what are your thoughts on this match?
I mean, I think the actual match is going to be great. And I understand why they're booking this, because this is my assumption, of course, is that they want MJF to get they want his title run to go for a while. They need him to retain at the pay-per-view. And it just makes a lot of sense to have him retain by, pinning Sammy Guevara or something, you know what I mean? That way, I don't see Darby taking the pin, and probably not Jungle Boy either, because you can do singles feuds and title shots for the 2 of those guys, I feel like. And I also feel like Sammy's only been turned babyface we've talked about this before, but to stack the odds even more so against MJF to make you think that there's 3 baby faces versus 1 heel. The actual build to this wasn't fantastic. I'll admit, on the mic and stuff, it hasn't been great. Really there, and it's been some misses from all the guys. It isn't just one person or whatever. But I did love Darby mentioning yesterday that he wants to beat MJF with a headlock takeover. I love that story is still a thing between the 2 of them.
Hasn't he? Didn't he say that in the first promo that they did? I swear he mentioned this in this first promo where they did the big interrupting promo.
Probably. Well, then he also actually won his match with it last week. Darby.
Yeah.
He did. but because like I talk about it all the time, but that Full Gear opening match a couple years ago between those two guys was like my favorite, one of my favorite matches in AEW history, and I love that story where MJF actually did beat him with a headlock takeover. Like at the end of the day, like he did exactly what he said he was going to do, and he beat him with that wrestling hold. So, but like I said, this match is going to be great. So. How do you feel? Because I'm guessing you weren't like super high on the build, but for all of this. But I mean, I think we could all agree that the match itself is going to be fire.
Yes, the match is going to be great. The match will be good. The match will probably be very good. All four guys are very good workers. I never thought the match was going to be the issue. The issue is that like I ain't that interested in the match. Like you can book me these great matches. Tony Khan has one of the best rosters we've ever seen at his disposal. You could pick 4 names out of a hat and you can get me a match. It's like, yeah, that's going to be good right there. The thing you got to do is make people interested in the match. And I ain't that interested in this match. It's for the title. So that adds some stakes, obviously. It's being built as this Pillars thing, which they were the Pillars when AEW started. We're 4 years into AEW. At least 2 of these guys don't feel like Pillars 4 years into it. It just, they don't.
Which 2?
Maybe 3. Oh, Sammy and Jungle Boy. They don't feel like Pillars at all to me. Yeah. You can kind of maybe argue Darby, but I think Darby's still there. He's still been presented at a high level. But Sammy and Jungle Boy they ain't been presented at that level from the start of the company to now. So I don't fully buy them as Pillars. I think the build's been all over the place and the stories they've been trying to tell. I think they've overcomplicated the story. Honestly, I think there was a story there. And then by trying to turn Sammy Guevara face I assume Jungle Boy's turning on Sunday. I think they're going to do some type of double turn with like full bore double turn with Jungle Boy and Guevara because they're both leaning this way. They're both leaning towards a turn. So I think they're going to just do some type of double turn. I think MJF wins and then we go on to wherever they're going to go on from there. But I'm not that interested in this match from a build perspective. And I thought last night, I thought they needed like a home run segment last night to like really hammer this home. It went middle of the show. They did backstages with Sammy Guevara and Jack Perry because they did backstages for a reason in my mind, but they trusted MJF and Darby to go out there with a live mic. MJF, obviously. Darby's been cutting good promos. A little just kind of, okay, I heard you say that weeks ago. Like, can we get something a little bit new here? But they trusted them with the live mic. And then, they did the little brawl thing at the end. Jungle Boy holds up the title. I didn't feel like that was a home run segment. I didn't feel last night was a home run show going into Double or Nothing. I didn't like the main event thing. Okay, the Young Bucks were there. Where was Omega in that final thing? Moxley's promising a bunch of blood and stuff. Like, I get it, Mox. I know people are going to bleed. I know you're going to bring that violence. I get that. I wasn't a home run show for me to be like, all right, you hammered home that this pay-per-view is a must-see. It just felt like a solid Dynamite where you got some good matches, but the build for Double or Nothing for a lot of these matches has been a little lukewarm, in my opinion.
They could have they almost could have swapped last week and this week's Dynamites because last week's Dynamite I thought was great from start to finish, and it included the young or the Elite reuniting at the very end, which would have been like a huge way to go into the pay-per-view. You know what I mean? If the last thing we see is what we saw last week, and then you're heading into the pay-per-view with the Elite now reunited, and everyone's all super hyped on that. And then I'm sure there's not actually a whole lot we can even talk about with this, but we have to at least bring it up. Obviously, Tony Khan made the announcement that AEW Collision is going to be going to the United Center in Chicago, as we all expected. But so I'd imagine they figure things out with CM Punk by now, and if they haven't, oh my God, now they're really in a corner. But I'd imagine things are figured out there if they're going to go to Chicago. So,
well, that's my question now is, I don't think the build has been great for this match. I think we all kind of assume that MJF is going to win. Do they capture headlines and attention by bringing out CM Punk at the end of this show
to confront MJF to kind of pick up where they left off?
Yeah.
I mean, this is all going to boil down to like who wants to work with CM Punk and vice versa and that kind of stuff. I'd imagine MJF and CM Punk are fine with working with each other. They've already done that before and it was incredible. I just guess. I don't know for sure. I don't know what Jerry's going to face. Like maybe
I mean, the last time we heard CM Punk speak about MJF, he was calling him a fucking child. So
right, true. That's true. Yeah, I mean, to answer your question, like yes, if they can work together, but the problem is, I don't think this isn't going to be like a CM. Last week, y'all want my thoughts on CM Punk? Go check out last week's show. But like, are they expecting CM Punk to get cheered? I mean, in Chicago, he will.
Oh, he's gonna get cheered.
In Chicago,
he's gonna get cheered everywhere.
You think so? I think he's gonna get booed in some of these buildings that are like elite fan base site buildings. Like, I don't think
Elite got booed on their way back. Like they got booed. They're gonna cheer CM Punk. That man and his following, they love that guy. CM Punk's he's definitely getting cheered in Chicago. There's no question about that.
For sure.
He's getting cheered. They had CM Punk chants last night. They tried to drown him out because they went to the announcer's booth, but there were CM Punk chants after they announced United Center. He's getting cheered.
Yeah, but for how long? I don't know. Like, I really don't know. I feel like there's a chance, and I don't know for sure, but like, if you want to, there's a lot of layers to all this, right? And like with MJF and Punk, I think there's a chance MJF starts getting cheered because I could see people turning on Punk. I could totally see it. Like the actual AEW, the same people that booed Cody Rhodes out of his own company. I feel like it's possible that they might reject CM Punk's return, knowing everything that happened before he came back. But that said, who knows? You know, like because here's the thing: MJF versus CM Punk, that was one of my favorite feuds like ever in wrestling. I love that feud. I want to see it continue. Like there is more story to tell there for sure. And then there's also the story that MJF is kind of reminding people about recently, and he's talking about the whole contract coming up, and all that stuff, and I think he's going to start trying to hold the belt hostage soon and stuff like that. So like there's at some point it's going to be at some point the story is going to be who the hell is going to get this belt off of him before he leaves. That's like what I think the story, and whether he leaves or not, but my prediction is is going to. I think MJF's going to go to the WWE. The more the closer we get to it, I honestly think so. I think he's going to bail. I really do.
I don't.
But I know, but I didn't before he came back. But now I'm like, I'm gonna keep it real. This title run hasn't been great. I think it's been okay, but it hadn't been like what I was expecting out of like waiting this long for him. And then when I say waiting this long, I was a fan of MJF on the indies and stuff, So like, but I think he's the right guy to be the champion. But I see the discourse on Twitter and stuff too, and there seems like a lot of people that are like, kind of like this has kind of been like a okay, you know what I mean? Like, how would you rate MJF's title run up to this point? Personally,
I thought it should have ended. I thought it should have ended with the Bryan Danielson match, and Danielson should have won. That's how I rate this title run. It's been,
but I would say Danielson bias out of it though. Even if we'll just say Danielson, like Danielson's not your favorite wrestler ever, and like that's out of the equation. Let's take like that out. Then even with that, how would you rate it?
I'd say the same thing. Danielson bias out of it. He's still the best. Even, I mean, he's my favorite, but I thought that feud was a little like the MJF stuff. I'm very hot and cold on MJF because some of his stuff is material. I'm like, not for me. And then, but his delivery is so good and he's so believable with what he says. I'm like, okay, I can buy this. This feud hasn't done anything for me. Like hasn't done anything for me. The Danielson feud, for the most part, I liked, but maybe that's just because he was feuding with Danielson. The matches have been good. The stuff with Ricky, some of those promos were good. And that match was good and everything. So like, I like that. Oh, he beat Moxley for it, and that was a fine feud. But then the Regal stuff got messy because Regal was leaving, and I don't put that on MJF. That was maybe the story just could have been a little bit better. It's been fine. Has it been the best? No. I think one thing of, he's calling it the Reign of Terror, and comparing it to like Triple H's reign. That's the spoof that they're doing here. Is like, man, Triple H was like burying your favorite guys. Like Triple H was beating dudes every week and just like not putting anyone over. Like MJF's wrestled like twice during this reign. Like he beat Ricky, which okay, maybe sort of burial. He beat Danielson, but Danielson, as much as I love him, Danielson wasn't buried or anything in that. Danielson's Danielson on that. They've done such a poor job in making you care about Sammy and Jungle Boy that it's like, all right, if he beats one of them, are you really like, oh man, I'm so mad that Sammy Guevara didn't win the world title? Like, I don't think so. Like, he should just be beating dudes like Adam Cole after Cole came back. He should be beating dude. I mean, he should beat like Darby because people do really like Darby. He should be beating Omega. He should be beating the Bucks. Like, he should be beating all these dudes that everyone loves. Bring in Miro. Just bring him back just to lose to MJF. Like, that's a reign of terror where he's just beating all of your favorites. And you're like, get this guy out of here. I'm sick of this dude. Instead, he's still MJF.
Right. Well, and I guess kind of my follow-up to all of that would be, let's say, when's his contract up? Is it this summer or is it like at the end of the year?
MJF, it's end of the year. It's January 1st.
January 1st. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's say hypothetically we have another 6 months of like him as a champion. Like they run this story all the way to the end of the year. So you really feel like, is he staying or is he leaving? And maybe they have plenty of time to figure that out with MJF. I have no idea what his contract status is. For all I know, he extended, and like we just don't know. Like when he came back, he could be locked in for years, and we just don't know. I have no idea. But if you're MJF, like, and this is an honest question, and I think that maybe the next 6 months is like going to answer this question for him and for us. But and I'm a massive AEW fan. They're my favorite company. Like that, AEW and GCW, that's my jam. Like, you know what I mean? But like, if you're MJF, honest question, Jeremy, like, why would you stay? Like, you've already been the champion.
Right? Because I don't know if you want to go to the unknown of WWE. I don't know if you want to go there and deal with all of that. Like AEW, you know where you're at. You know your position ain't changing all that much. Like, do you want to go to WWE and just deal with all that? Are they going to make you wrestle more? Like, is that what you want to do? The money's probably going to be the money's probably going to be relatively equal. I'm sure WWE can offer them more overall. But like, yeah, I don't know if you want to go there. Maybe he does. I've said this before. Is like, maybe like some of these people, he sees this is the real challenge. Like, all right, AEW, I know what I'm doing. I know where I'm at. I know my position. WWE is an actual challenge for me. And these wrestlers do like to be challenged. So maybe he sees it as like, this is a challenge. I'm going to go here and I'm going to prove everybody wrong that I can thrive in this position and in this company. And maybe that's what he sees it as. But if I'm MJF, I'm looking like I'm good here. Like I know my position. I'm good.
Yeah. I mean, and that could be the case too. Like, and obviously, in a perfect world, I think that MJF should be in AEW for a very long time, and he should be the top heel in the wrestling business. Like, I think the world of MJF. I love the guy. And I've talked about it plenty, but like growing up Jewish, I love the Jewish representation. Like having like a winner out there. Like we had Goldberg when I was a kid, which was cool. But before that, we had like Barry Horowitz and like nobodies and jobbers and stuff. Like, you know, so it's cool to see like, you know, a dude out there representing for the Jewish people, like MJF. I think it's really cool. And he gets out like the whole, like, you know, the spreading awareness of like, you know, the Jewish hate out there online and stuff. I think he's like a really good like representation for like, you know, for the Jewish people and stuff like that. But like, and he's a heel character, obviously. He's a dastardly character on television, but from all accounts, I hate to ruin people's perceptions, but there are a lot of people that have also told me that he's like a really, really nice guy behind the scenes, although that's gonna,
Wow,
that's gonna, kayfabe.
Stephen
Well,
Jensen.
but he's been super rude to me in person. For the record, I tried to shake his hand. He told me to go F myself. So like, I can't vouch for the whole nice guy thing, but apparently he is nice to some people. But my thing is like, I don't know, man. If I'm MJF and I'm like 25 or whatever at the end of this year, and I've already been the AEW champion, and my boy Cody is another company like vouching for me, I don't know. Then this is also why I'm not gonna go down this whole road, but this is why having Cody win at WrestleMania would have been a big deal, because I think that would have been a sign of like MJF coming over, we're gonna treat you well. Ricky Starks coming over eventually. Jade Cargill coming over eventually. We're gonna treat you well. Look what we did with Cody. Instead of like, hey, we're gonna bring you over and now we're gonna make you prove yourself again. You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of not a good look. But I think if they would have seen them just go all the way with Cody, it's a lot easier for MJF to make that jump, knowing that like something like that could happen with him. But that's just kind of where I'm at in my head, honestly, is like, for MJF, at what point is he going to look at his position in AEW and go, I'm a lifelong WWE fan. Like, I've always how many wrestlers on and off the record have we talked to that are like, I grew up a WWE fan. That's where I want to be. You know what I mean? Like, and listen, I love AEW. I love GCW. I love the indies. In the grand scheme of things, the WWE is probably my least favorite wrestling show that I watch. You know what I mean? But like, I can also recognize that that's where a lot of these wrestlers wanted to be their entire life. And I think MJF's no different. I know MJF's no different. There's videos of him trying out for Tough Enough years ago. He's wanted to work for the WWE. But like, that's where like I really do start. If you would have asked me like even just a few months ago, I would have said MJF stays with AEW, he signs, he extends, he becomes the champion, he's there for like forever. But now after like being a few months into this title run and seeing it just be kind of lukewarm, I don't know, man. If I'm him, I don't know. I don't want to put anything weird out there from like a fan perspective or like whatever. I'm just saying my radar of MJF going to WWE went from like when he returned, I would have said 80% he's staying with AEW for like the long haul. Now I'd say it's more like 40% he's with AEW. I'm leaning more towards he's going to go to WWE than stay with AEW at this point.
There's a lot of time left for this to play out on everything. And I think like a lot's going to change between now and basically All Out, because you're going to have the debut of Collision. You're going to have Forbidden Door. You're going to have All In. You're going to have All Out. I think we'll get a much better read on things by the end of All Out, and when CM Punk wins the title and his 1 year anniversary of Brawl Out, and he's eating muffins, cutting promos on children. Chi-Town Spurs says, I think the feud would have been much better if it was consolidated into a month rather than drawn out since the end of Revolution. Too much repetition.
That's fair.
I agree. I agree with that. I thought it was gonna be not a consolidated thing, but I did think there was gonna be just kind of more. I'm trying to get the thought correct here. I thought it was going to be a little bit more condensed in what they were going to do, and maybe they would do more of kind of singles matches and then get into the Pillars match at Double or Nothing. I thought MJF was going to wrestle a little bit more on television, is basically what I was trying to say. And like he did the tag match with Sammy. Otherwise, I don't think he's been like in the ring as part of this feud. And it seemed like it was going to be the right play to go to Double or Nothing with the Pillars thing, but because they've had to draw it out so much, they've lost it in the storytelling, at least in my thoughts. And like, some of these guys ain't built for that long-term storytelling. They can't pull it off. And one, it's not only the characters, the wrestlers themselves, it's just the actual writing of this stuff. The way I don't understand the trying to babyface Sammy like, aligning with MJF. That was a weird turn that just felt like we got to kill 3 weeks here. Hey, let's have Sammy trust MJF and they're friends, even though Sammy didn't trust MJF and MJF basically screwed him over as part of the inner circle. Oh, that didn't make a whole lot of sense. Jungle Boy becoming miserable and everything like that was there. Darby's been fine. I haven't had too many issues with Darby. Getting a little repetitive in what he's saying, but overall, it's been fine. It felt like they had about a month of story that they tried to stretch out into 3 months of story.
Right. And see, like, and back to this can go full circle because I feel like the Fast and Furious franchise has done that, but they've stretched it over the span of 20 years. So like everything you just described is how all the reasons I don't like Fast and Furious. Everything you just said, repetitive, over and over and over, same kind of thing. Toretto must have said family 30 times in this past movie. I mean, it's just like the same thing over and over and over again.
Why are you hating on family?
It's enemies that somehow, like, people that have literally been trying to kill each other for a decade or plus are now teaming together and stuff. Like, people double crosses on double crosses. Anyways, you just described the reasons I don't like. Anyway, yeah, go ahead.
Fired.
But MJF's going to retain. We all know MJF's retaining at this pay-per-view. And listen, I hope that the next 6 months, MJF's the AEW champion and he kills it because I love MJF. I can't stress that enough. I hope he stays with AEW. I would prefer him to stay in AEW, but they need to really heat up his title run. And maybe a big part of that is Punk, honestly. Like, if Punk comes back and that's the next big feud for MJF, but the difference is like MJF needs to win that feud. Like, you can have CM Punk come back and beat MJF for the title.
Yeah, he can. Yeah, he can.
Oh my God, dude. Don't even put that out there.
Well, I think it'd be great. Put the belt back on Punk. Nothing has gone wrong when CM Punk's been the world champion. Nothing. It's been great.
Yeah.
All of his reigns have been fantastic. What's your favorite CM Punk title defense?
I'm trying to think of, has he ever actually defended you're sitting there staring at me. I can't know if you're frozen or not. Oh no, you're not frozen. Well, I know the second time he didn't defend it because he obviously brawl out. But before that, did he never defend it before that either? I legitimately can't remember. Can you say something?
No, he never actually defended.
He never defended it.
He won it.
Yeah,
he won it from Hangman, broke his foot. He came back and he faced Moxley in the unification match and got
murked. Yeah, and he had the trios match with the FTR. That's right. Yeah.
And then he won it at All Out and then never defended it because everything that happened.
That's right.
That. So yeah, he never technically defended the title.
That's wild.
Two-time champion, 0 title defenses for CM Punk. Rules. Absolutely rules. Put the belt on him for a 3rd time. Go for it. Let him anchor both of these shows. I'm all in on CM Punk. All in. Hope he shows up at the end of the show this Sunday. Hope he
double or nothing on CM Punk.
I'm with it. The rest of the card for Double or Nothing, we're not going to run through and give match by match thoughts here, but what else stands out to you on this show?
I think Adam Cole and Chris Jericho is going to be really good. It was pretty random that Sabu was involved. I was like, what?
So weird.
I was like, oh, here comes Kyle O'Reilly. Maybe Bobby Fish is somehow getting back in the mix here. And then
bring out Sabu.
And then Sabu came out. And I was like, dude, I marked out a little bit because I'm an old school ECW fan, But that was so random. But I like that match, and for the record, I think Adam Cole will win that one. I think Jade and Taya Valkyrie will be really good. I think it's going to be better than the last match they had, and there's more doubt in whether or not Taya will win because she can use the Road to Valhalla in this match, which is, for people who don't know, that's the same move as Jaded. So they both have the same finisher, and that could make for an interesting kind of finish in this match, in my opinion. Other stuff I'm really looking forward to. Honestly, outside of that, I mean, I think everything's going to be good on the show. All the AEW pay-per-views. I honestly believe if you consider yourself a fan of professional wrestling, you need to watch the AEW pay-per-views. Even if you don't watch the weekly show or even love AEW, I think you really need to watch their pay-per-views. But of course, Anarchy in the Arena, that'd be the other big one, of course. Well, another thing I'll say, I would definitely have Christian Cage beat Wardlow in this ladder match. Like I'm just gonna put that out there. I don't think he will. My official prediction is probably gonna be my official prediction for Wrestle Rumble, if it's on there, is gonna be Wardlow. But there's something just missing big time with Wardlow. It feels like, and like Christian's actually, well, yeah, and that's not really helping. It feels like, but like Christian's been a great heel. Like, you know what I mean? It's a combination of like Wardlow just isn't hitting for me, and like Christian is like hitting way more than I expect him to right now. So yeah, I mean, and I think like the Battle Royal is going to be fun. Like, I think Orange Cassidy will somehow retain over 21 people in that.
Good.
Yeah. What about you? I know I just kind of like went over most of like the big stuff, but anything else like really stand out to you?
Like, Anarchy in the Arena is the thing I'm most looking forward to. I didn't think the go home segment last night was that great. You know, where's Kenny Omega and all this? And the Callis stuff is still kind of lingering out there. I imagine Callis gets involved somehow. Maybe Takeshita gets involved somehow. Not sure. But that's still a lingering plot point that they have to continue or tie up or just address in this story. So I'm looking forward to that. And then I like most of the guys in the match. I like all the guys in the match, actually. I don't say most. I like all the guys in the match. The environment, just the gimmick that they do is going to be really good. I'm interested to see what music they play. I don't know if they go back to Wild Thing to play during this. I don't know if they have another song. I don't know. Queen. I mentioned like We Will Rock You might be a song that they play if they can get the rights to a Queen song there. So yeah. I'm looking forward to Anarchy in the Arena. The rest of the show, like there's some good stuff. I think Toni Storm might win the women's title because Sean kind of mentioned that Jamie Hayter might be a little bit more injured than I think AEW was hoping for. So Toni Storm could potentially win the title there, and that would set off a few things to continue the Originals and the Outcasts feud. So there's that. The rest of the card, Christian Wardlow is a interesting one. I'm not mad at like Christian winning. Arn, I don't know if he was hinting at something or if he was just like, there's 4 days. Isn't that ironic? 4. Is he just like making a Horseman reference for the sake of making a Horseman reference? Or is that a hint that something else is coming and they are going to do some type of like Horseman thing? Not sure.
Yeah. It feels like the 4 Horsemen thing, they could have easily done that at like the beginning of AEW and it would have made like a ton of sense because there was that story right at the beginning of AEW that involved like FTR and the Elite and Cody and like all these guys and Hangman. Like, what sides were they really on? And like remember like Hangman and FTR had like their thing going and like and I feel like around then that would have made a lot of sense. Like, you had Arn Anderson, you had Tully Blanchard, you could have done like Cody, FTR, and MJF or something. Like, that could have been your like 4 Horsemen when AEW started or something like that. Now it feels like it would be a really watered down, like lame version of the 4 Horsemen. Like, if it's Wardlow, Arn Anderson, and like, who'd you add to this to even make it interesting? You know what I mean? Like Sean Spears, like redo the because they tried it with the Pinnacle. That was pretty much like their attempt at like a 4 Horsemen type thing, and it totally flopped.
Kind of saying like Lance Archer, he's aligned with Jake. I don't know. Tully's gone. Not sure. There's some weird stuff. Like, I don't know why the Hardy, it's Matt, Jeff, and Isaiah Cassidy against the Firm. Like, why is that match on this card? Why isn't Keith and Swerve on this? They're in the Battle Royal, I believe. I hope Orange Cassidy doesn't lose the title in this Battle Royal. Like, when Orange Cassidy eventually loses this title, it should be a big deal, not because he got tossed over the top rope in a Battle Royal by somebody. Like, it should be by pinfall. I don't like when reigns like this end on, and this is what I'm kind of worried about when it comes to Jade Cargill. I don't want this reign to be cheapened with a weird loss off of like, oh, Jade calls somebody out and then they just beat her after she's wrestled 5 times or something like that. Like, I don't need any of that. I want clean victories here.
Yeah, well, and I think that Orange Cassidy, like, I expect him to retain, unless like this is just a big cop out of like getting the belt off of him without having him really lose, which I guess could be the case. But the way I really see it is more the whole story with him is that he's getting beat down week after week after week, and like after his matches, I love his interviews where he's talking to Renee and she's just like, I need to sit down. It's just like, I'm so tired right now. Because like eventually someone's gonna get him. It's good. The feeling is like, and I think this is gonna be part of that. Is so dude somehow overcame 21 people and he is just beat at the end of this thing. Like the next time we see him wrestle, maybe he barely gets by another few defenses, but eventually he's just gonna be so worn down that someone's gonna get him. And I think that's the right way to do a story like this and a title reign like this. When you're someone like Orange Cassidy and you get into 20 something title defenses or whatever, then it's like that's the whole point of like a real champion. It feels like not the whole point, but like, if this was like a real sport, it'd be, seeing a guy like, Michael Jordan three-peat, in the NBA, and then like eventually another team's going to eventually win. And then when someone finally beats Jordan,
he just retires.
Well, I guess for him, he just retired. That's a good point. That was a bad example. But, I mean, in MMA, like Demetrius Johnson, it took like forever for him to lose. Henry Cejudo finally did it. And then the next thing you know, Henry Cejudo is like winning multiple championships, Triple C, whatever. Like that might not be the best example either, but you know what the point is. Like it's someone who's been the established champion for a long time. Orange Cassidy, 20 something reigns or whatever in, he gets to, and then eventually someone just has a better night than he does. And Orange Cassidy's beat down and beat up. And like, now it's time for someone else to take that title and go on a run. So, and actually, I saw Ace Shock. I've actually mentioned this on the Weekender before. I like this a lot. Work Horseman managed by Arn Anderson. I love that idea. I love Anthony Henry and JD Drake, and I think they should get a massive push at some point. I love they're being used in Ring of Honor. And something like that could work. If you did Arn Anderson, JD Drake, Anthony Henry, Wardlow, but then you'd have to have like a real centerpiece. Because Wardlow still, to me, seems like the Arn Anderson of a group like that. Like, they still need the Ric Flair of that group. And I don't know who that is.
Heel Jack Perry. Jack Perry is the Ric Flair.
That's not a terrible idea. Jack Perry doesn't have the same kind of mic skills, of course, but like he's got the girls want him factor. You know what I mean? Like Rick did.
Imagine Jack Perry cutting Ric Flair promos.
He'd sound so strange. But yeah, I don't know. Let us know in the chat who y'all think would be kind of the best Ric Flair in a group like that. I like the idea of the Workhorseman, Wardlow, Arn Anderson, but you'd have to have that big centerpiece of that group as like the singles kind of leader of it.
I actually think I don't think that he's a babyface now, but someone like Ricky Starks would be great.
Yeah, something like that would I think would work. I honestly think there's more money in Ricky as a heel than a babyface, anyways. Honestly,
yeah. I get.
Yeah, that's a good call. I mean, I'm sure we could come up with some more people too if we sat here and thought about it for a while.
D'Lo Diggs has a super chat. It says, do you guys think that the MJF promo after Double or Nothing made the expectation on the title reign seem lackluster? The promo where he begged Tony Khan to fire him, like that promo. I don't know if that. I don't really. I don't really tie those two things together when it comes to his title reign, because he came back and then. I mean, the expectation was going to be there regardless. I think the expectation took a hit when CM Punk. They couldn't capitalize on that. And then they had to go into the Moxley program. And then the Moxley program was a little all over the place because Regal was leaving. And they did the weird thing with Regal where he turned, but they didn't fully get to. And I thought MJF was the most despicable man in the world when he took out William Regal. But the follow-up to that just wasn't great because it felt like Moxley should have cared a little bit more about all that. Instead, Moxley just kind of went off and did nothing. And then Blackpool Combat Club was disjointed with Danielson until MJF did beat Danielson. And then now Blackpool Combat Club is back on track. I think that it got messed up just off of the CM Punk stuff. I think Punk and MJF, with the way MJF returned, with the history of Punk and MJF, could have been a great first feud and could have really capitalized on everything, could have tied together a lot of things off that MJF promo where he begged Tony Khan to fire him. Instead, Punk called him a child, called a bunch of people children, and what happened.
Yeah. So, I'm not, we'll I'm fine. Is there any other like predictions or anything you want to throw out there for the pay-per-view? I mean, we just got another super chat actually. What theme song do you want to replay loop during Anarchy in the arena match? That's right. Dude, you mentioned We Will Rock You possibly playing. I like that idea. I'll always associate that with D2 the Mighty Ducks though. That's like that's a D2 type beat as far as I'm concerned is We Will Rock You by Queen. But yeah, because last time was it Wild Thing that just like played over and over and over again? Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, it's funny. Thanks for the super chat, Johnny.
Somebody mentioned Welcome to the Jungle. That was in our chat yesterday on In the Weeds. Somebody mentioned Welcome to the Jungle. I feel like a Guns N' Roses song cost a penny or two there. I don't know if they want to play that. What if Tony gets Final Countdown? That's what should play.
It should. I feel like he's going to save that for like some giant Danielson if they ever get it. I mean,
see, I don't think Wayward Son is a good let's all start a barroom brawl fight.
Have you seen Dirty Work with Norm Macdonald and Artie Lang and those guys from back in the day?
If I have, it's been a very long time.
Oh my god, there's a classic scene. Someone in this chat surely has seen that movie. Chris Farley's in that, and I think it's the last movie Farley did before he died. And there's a scene in there where Norm Macdonald and Artie Lang go into this bar, and they have to get in a bar fight with all these like frat dudes. Like they're like, grown men, and they have to get in this bar fight with this whole fraternity. And Chris Farley is at the jukebox. He's like, hell yeah. And someone's like, you got to play the right song for this brawl. And he's like, hell yeah. Fight song, Rolling Stones, F7. And he hits the button without looking and hits F8. And you just hear like, if you like pina coladas, you're getting drunk in the rain. And like, you see all these people fighting each other. And like, that's what's playing in the background. That's like, just reminded me of that is like, if you played you play the wrong music and they're all out there in this Anarchy arena match, just the way, like, that's how like Wayward Son would sound like to me is like, people would be like, this is the wrong vibes for this. So yeah, if there's any Dirty Work fans in there, RP Norm Macdonald, and RP Chris Farley.
The wife says Dirty Work is a very good film, so
it's fantastic.
She's a fan of it. She has suggested Ballroom Blitz to play.
Ballroom Blitz.
Yeah, I go Kid Rock, ball with the ball. Only two things you hit in the floor, and Kid Rock's hit single, ball with the ball. You got that queued up. That's what should play. A Limp Bizkit song. I know you appreciate that. Break stuff? Sorry. Come on. If they play break stuff?
That's the move. That's the Tito Ortiz's old theme song.
I know that.
No, I know. I put that out there. But yeah. And by the way, y'all, if you keep putting Wrestle Rumble in the chat, we see y'all. We're adding everyone to a list at the end of the show. 3 people are going to get their names chosen to get a free Wrestle Rumble entry for Night of Champions and for Night of Champions and Double or Nothing. 3 people are going to win entries to both of those contests. So please keep putting Wrestle Rumble in the chat. We'll pick a winner at the end of the show. And I'll say it right now in case people tune out by the end. If y'all have until Friday night after SmackDown to email or to DM me to get your entries, because we had one person I think not reach out last week. Like I said, someone won $100. So like if you win here, we want you to get your entries. So you have until Friday after SmackDown to DM me to get your entry. Okay. Anyway, let's move on, Jeremy.
I need to finish the story. In the WWE, the story never finishes.
The story is not finished between Cody Rhodes and Brock Lesnar. Brock broke his arm on Monday. He attacked him backstage, and then he beat him up some more on the ring. And then Triple H, at the end of the show, went to him and was like, "You're hurt, man. I don't want you doing this. Don't be stupid." Cody's like, "What would you do, Hunter? Wrestling with a torn quad. Would you go out there and wrestle, or would you take this time off? And then Triple H says, I'm just looking out for you. Cody said, I'm going to be a Night of Champions. I'm going to fight him. You know, we're getting Cody and Brock Jensen. And as the Cody Rhodes defender, the spokesperson for Cody Rhodes for the entire wrestling media, what are your thoughts on Cody Rhodes facing Brock Lesnar once again?
Well, I'll say it wasn't ideal seeing him get his ass kicked so badly on my birthday. That was kind of rough. You know, tough day. I saw that on my birthday. That happened, and the Lakers got eliminated from the playoffs. I saw
you and SB3, yeah, rough times for y'all's birthdays. The Lakers lost on SB3's birthday, and the Lakers got eliminated on SB3's birthday, or on your birthday.
But yeah, exactly. Yeah, not ideal. I get what they're trying to do, I guess, but is there, I can't remember who I saw tweet this. I've seen actually a lot of people tweet a version of this tweet. So like, I'm not sure. It's pretty, but it's how a lot of people think, I think. Is it WWE's impression that we're only interested in Cody if he's hurt? Like, is that like their honest opinion of like, we're only behind him if he's injured? Because like, that wasn't the case going into WrestleMania. Like, he won the Royal Rumble and he was back from injury and he was healthy. And he was more over during the WrestleMania main event than he's ever been. And then they had him lose. But, you know, for some reason, I think they have it in their head that like people are only going to get behind him if he's like injured or has like some giant adversity, where the reality of it is we just want to see like a new, like cool, like winner, like just like a new face of the company, like a new, like it doesn't need to be adversity. It just needs to be something new. And that like you're gonna stick with, it's gonna work. You know, he's out there doing like all the Make-A-Wishes now and stuff. Like Cena's not around. Like he's like the guy for that. You know, like it just feels like you don't need the adversity. Just have him be a winner. Like it's you don't need all this. So I get to a degree I appreciated the thing between him and Triple H, because if they hadn't have done that, then like we would have been talking about it on the show and been like, what kind of world are we living in where like Triple H isn't letting Cody do this, but Triple H finished the match with the torn quad, you know? And I know that Danielson dealt the same thing when he was there. Yeah. Apparently him and Triple H got like an actual altercation when Triple H stopped his match. I think it was with Randy Orton years ago. And Danielson had the same kind of stuff to say, but like backstage, and was like, what the hell, man? Like, you of all people was going to tell me I can't finish a match. So I like that they put that out there. But at the same time, I mean, Cody's taking the L in Saudi Arabia. I hate to say it. I'm gonna predict Cody in Wrestle Rumble.
Not if you go see Joey Chestnut. Not if you go see Joey Chestnut on Saturday.
That's a good call. I need to go find Joey. If I go find Joey Chestnut, I might be able to get Cody a W in Saudi Arabia. But I'm too biased to not pick Cody in Wrestle Rumble. If that's a question on the thing, which I'm assuming it will be. I'm gonna have to pick Cody, but I mean, I just think they're gonna have the only silver lining here in the back of my mind is, and I've said it before and I'll say it again, Cody beat Seth 3 out of 3, so like maybe he can do that same to Brock, because like we know it'll be Brock and Cody again at SummerSlam. And my thing is, you need to make Cody look as strong as humanly possible. And if that includes beating Brock Lesnar 3 times, I think it's just more likely that Brock's going to win in Saudi Arabia. But then Cody has to win at SummerSlam, and he has to win convincingly. If like I said before, I'd have him tap out Brock. There was like a short time on the Indies, I remember, I think in New Japan as well, where Cody was using like a version of the figure 4 as a finisher. It was kind of like an inverted figure 4. I think he needs to like establish like a submission finisher, and I would have him. He needs to like definitively make Brock tap out at SummerSlam, and then go on to beat Roman Reigns at WrestleMania next year. That's probably like how long it's going to take. But there's a lot that can change, and Cody could get hurt again. Brock, I mean, there's so much stuff that can happen between now and then. But my guess is they did all this so like Cody's super. And here's the thing. When Cody fought Brock the first time, he had the advantage because Cody, beat up Brock with a chair and stuff before the bell rang. this one, Cody's going into it with like a broken arm or whatever from the Kimura. So Brock's at the advantage. So I think Brock will win, and then they'll both go into it more so at like 100% in the trilogy fight. And once again, that's where Cody really needs to win if they're going to try to salvage this thing. But what's your prediction, Jeremy? Do you think that Brock wins in Saudi Arabia?
I think Brock should beat him in about 5 seconds in Saudi Arabia. This man has a broken arm. I don't need this forced adversity that he broke his arm and then he still wins. Don't need it. I saw the adversity with Seth and the torn titty, and he won that match, which I kind of questioned. I thought maybe Seth should have won that match because Cody was going to be on the shelf and everything. But okay, at least that was real adversity that they tried to pretend that didn't exist because they needed him to overcome more adversity, and that's why he lost at WrestleMania. This is forced adversity of he has a broken arm from Brock Lesnar, and now he's gonna, I assume, lose this match. And if he's gonna lose, he should lose very quickly. He'll put up a fight. No, just beat him. Just beat the guy. I think wrestling companies get way too in their head of let's try to 50-50 stuff. And let's try to make people look strong in defeat. But then there's no follow-up plan when they do that and they try to look strong in defeat. So, Cody, he's gonna go 50-50, and he's gonna put up a fight with a broken arm. Look how valiant of an effort this is. Well, it's a more valiant effort when he comes back and he eventually beats Brock Lesnar, which I assume is gonna happen if he just gets his ass kicked in this match. Because then, when he is healthy, it's like, oh, look at it. Cody when he's healthy. If he can put up a fight with one arm, then yeah, I buy that he can beat him when he's healthy. If he gets his ass kicked with one arm, then even when he's healthy, I'm like, oh, can he beat Brock? What's going to happen? Can he actually, can a healthy Cody Rhodes still beat Brock Lesnar? If he's healthy and he can attack him before the bell and he doesn't beat him up with the chair before the bell, can he beat Brock? There's a little bit of doubt there. So just beat guys. It's okay. It's okay to just beat guys.
Yeah. I mean, I hope that doesn't happen to Cody, but I can see it. And
rip his arm off and beat him over the head with it is what Brock should do to Cody.
I really don't want to see Cody tap either, but I feel like he's going to grab him by the arm and that's going to be, he's going to Kimura him.
What if he doesn't tap? What if here's what happens, shit. What if he doesn't tap? What if he puts him in the Kimura and he's in it for probably way too long? He doesn't tap or anything, and the referee just decides to stop it. The referee stops it, and then Cody has the out, and then Cody can complain that, oh, why did the ref stop it? He's yelling at Triple H. Why'd you tell the ref to stop it? Maybe Triple H even says, I told the ref to stop it. I'm just looking out for you. And then he can yell at Triple H with no actual payoff because Triple H can't wrestle. And then he can do that. And then it's all revealed that Triple H hired Brock Lesnar and was the hired gun for all of this, which people are kind of theorizing. This Cody stuff, man, I got to be honest with you, Jensen, ain't good. I ain't a fan of any of it. He should have won. He should have won at Mania, and they should have gone from there. And now everything just feels like a letdown and feels very forced. I ain't a fan of what they're doing with Cody.
Feels weird. They did this to themselves. Because this all should just be with Cody as the champion. If Cody's the champion, the same exact story's happening. It's completely different because
then Brock should win the title.
Or you're fearing right now, holy cow, Cody's reign's about to be over. He's only had the belt since WrestleMania, and this is a humongous threat to his title. And then also that story makes a lot more sense too of if Triple H hiring Brock as a hired gun to take down Cody, doesn't that make a lot more sense if that's taking the belt off of Cody? Cody's the champion and the mission is get the belt off of Cody because of what this guy did when he left, or however they want to present it on TV, whatever version of that they want to put out there. But without the title, all this just means so much less. So, yeah, just is what it is. I agree with you, and I agree with everyone. I think everyone would. I think even Cody Rhodes haters would agree that this was all the wrong move. So stupid. Even AJ Styles, who's challenging for this third title is calling it a consolation prize, like you said at the top of the show. Like, stupid. Even the wrestlers fighting for the title recognize how dumb this is.
In fairness to AJ Styles, the full quote, he said what he said. The full quote was like, is it secondary? Yeah. Like, you have Roman with his belts and everything. And he said, our goal is to basically now prove it's not secondary once somebody wins it. And that has to be the goal. Is it secondary right now? Yeah, it is. There's no other way around it. And there's no other way around it because not only was it introduced for the reasons it was introduced, this build hasn't been good either. Like the buildup of this. You have Rollins doing pre-tape promos because, hey, good on him. He got a spot in a Marvel movie. You ain't knocking the man for that. But he's doing pre-tape promos. AJ's doing weird segments with Grayson Waller. AJ's going to do whatever he's going to do on a taped SmackDown tomorrow night. But the fact that it's a taped show ain't the best look. There's been no interaction between AJ and Styles. There's been nothing. The title, the build for this prize doesn't feel like it's anything special. It doesn't feel like they are fighting for a big prize when it comes to Seth Rollins and AJ Styles. They want you to make it seem, they want to make it seem that way because it's like AJ Styles, Seth Rollins, two of the best wrestlers we have in the company, two of the best wrestlers ever, world heavyweight title, big deal, big title fight. It's like a UFC fight of like, hey, we got two champions. We got a champion and a number one contender, and they're fighting for this interim title or something. Yep. It's like, this doesn't feel that big. Honestly, Dana, you could tell me this is a big fight, but this interim title don't feel all that special. Gotta tell you, just doesn't feel like it. So that's what it feels like on here. There's no real terrible bad blood or anything like that. Not feeling this match. Will be great. It's AJ Styles, Seth Rollins. Gonna be hard for this to be bad. It's gonna be good, but triple main event. Get excited.
Yeah, I forgot that they're also they're labeling it a triple main event. Yeah, no, I agree, and I think we both expect Rollins to win this title. So
Roman wins it.
I mean, honestly, he might as well. I mean, I'm not even kidding. Like, they shouldn't even be making this title to begin with. Like, just admit this was a bad idea and just bail now before it even becomes a thing.
Roman, here's how you book it. Roman wins the tag titles with Solo, right? He just goes ahead, he wins those, and then that match is the first of the triple main events. Then you do Cody and Brock as a buffer because no one cares about that match. So that's the cool down match. And it's only gonna last 5 seconds anyway. It only lasts 5 seconds. And then Roman just stays out there for Cody and Brock, and he's just cackling as Brock destroys Cody, is yucking it up with Heyman. He just stays out there. He's got all his titles. He's got his 2 world titles. He's now got his 2 tag team titles. Him and Solo and Heyman are out there laughing as Cody gets beat up and everything. Cody gets helped to the back, and Roman's just pointing. Seth and AJ come out. They have their match. It's fine. It's good and all this stuff. Seth wins. We'll say Seth wins. And then Seth is holding the title over there. He's celebrating big title. Maybe you do this pyro celebration that Cody didn't get at WrestleMania. You do maybe confetti or something. And then Seth sees Roman with all his titles. And then Seth is pointing at him and Roman's pointing at him. And then Heyman whispers, so they love that gimmick. Heyman whispers something in Roman's ear of like, winner take all right now. And then Roman gets the mic and he's like, I know you've been eyeing me. You've been eyeing these titles. What if we do winner take all? The wise man had a great idea. What if we do winner take all right now? And Seth is all fired up. He's like, yeah, let's go. Winner take all. And Roman just beats him in 5 seconds. He's got all these titles to close out Saudi Arabia. He's got all 3 of these world titles. He's got the tag team titles. Bring Gunther out. Have him beat. Fly over Austin Theory. Get him beat as well. What other titles are there? Bring Carmelo. I know he's defending that title on Sunday. Bring him over on Saturday to lose first. And then you ain't got no title match on Sunday at NXT.
Yeah, take out Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair at the same time. Boom, win both those belts.
Yeah. Let's get all these belts.
I mean, you might as well. And honestly, I'm not even like, you might as well. Because, It's the prize of this whole thing should be somebody beating Roman Reigns. Dude, I'm terrified at this point. He's gonna wind up getting hurt or something. Like, and there's just gonna be no payoff after all of this. It's just gonna be just no one's gonna wind up doing it.
If it gets hurt, it's okay. He only wrestles once every 3 months. Like, as long as the injury ain't too bad, he could still come out there and cut promos and everything. It'd be fine.
Yeah. Or like the Fast franchise comes calling and they're like, hey, we need you.
That'd be the best. Oh, could you imagine? That would actually be the best way to get the titles off of Roman Reigns, is the Fast franchise. Vin Diesel is like, we need more family. And Roman is there. And then Roman just in the middle of the ring on Monday Night Raw is like, it's been good. It's been fun. But you know what? I'm on to other ventures. I talk about bloodline. You know what's thicker than blood? Family.
Man.
And I'm going to go continue to support my family and join a new family because I'm part of Fast 11, y'all. And he just leaves the titles in the ring. And he just walks away and walks right into Fast 11, reuniting with Dwayne. John is there as well, who's first name basis here in the Fast family.
Mm-hmm.
And the titles are just in the ring. And they, however they decide them, who really cares about the titles at this point? It's all about Fast and Furious franchise. And then, no, I got it. I got it for you, Jensen. Okay?
Okay.
This is how Cody wins the belts. He leaves the belts in the ring, and then Roman walks away. And what's the first thing you hear is wrestling has more than one royal family. And Cody walks out, and he just picks up the belts. And Cody Rhodes, new champion. He did it, baby.
I'll do you one better, Jeremy. Instead of Cody just picking the titles up, he sees the titles in the ring, and he says, "No, this isn't. I don't get down like this, Roman. I don't just accept handouts. We're gonna race for these titles.
Race for the belts and the slips, baby. Let's go.
Yeah, belts and slips. There you go. And the respect to the streets."
Is there anything else from Night of Champions that I feel like we hit on? We hit on the triple main events. All right. There's other stuff on this card. I don't know if there's gonna be any title changes or anything like that. Asuka should beat Bianca. That's my only thing.
I think Bianca's gonna retain in that one. I love both women though. I think Bianca is just so great as the champion though. I wouldn't stop that if I was them. Yeah, as far as like just really quick predictions, I think that well, I like Becky versus Trish. That's interesting. I think Becky will win. I'm going to take Rhea over Natalya and Bianca over Asuka. I think both of them will retain. I think Gunther will retain over Mustafa Ali. The real question, I'm going to take Cody, but I think Brock will win. And I'll take Rollins over Styles. The biggest question mark to me is the tag team match, the Owens and Zayn versus Bloodline match, where before last week I would have said Owens and Zayn, but then after we did our show last week, I was like, you made some pretty good points about Roman winning the titles.
Give them all the belts.
Yeah. I prefer if they didn't do that, but at the same time, like I said, they're at this point already where it's like, screw it, just you might as well. And I think it's an interesting story that you put out there of like Roman and Solo carry these things over to the Usos, and they're like, wasn't that hard, guys? Like I like that idea of like, y'all couldn't do this? Okay, we're gonna keep that in mind, y'all. Me and Solo will just keep doing all the work over here. You know, like I like the idea of that story. And also, it's not gonna get any bigger for Sami and Owens as a team than it was at WrestleMania. Like that was the big moment, the big payoff. And had Cody won at WrestleMania, things are different because you'd have them as the tag team champions, Cody as the world champion, and you can continue on with them as like a kind of the team that they were heading into WrestleMania, all as champions now, and you can do a lot with that going forward. But since Cody didn't win, I feel like that story is just kind of like done. And, you know, Sami got the big pin at WrestleMania, and now there's really nowhere to go with this tag team, and you might as well just put it back on the Bloodline, and this time just do it with Roman and Solo to create more stories amongst the Bloodline, because that's really the only story that matters in the company, according to the company. So yeah, I think that's what they'll do. I think Roman and Solo will just wind up winning.
Roman and Solo are going to win. And instead of being handed the tag team titles, because who cares about those? Paul Heyman's going to hand Roman his 1,000 day shirt, because that's what it's all about, baby. The 1,000 days and making that t-shirt. And that's what Roman is going to hold up. He's going to leave the tag title. Solo can hold the tag titles, whatever. Who cares about those belts? The 1,000-day shirt is what matters.
Yeah, I just saw they released some shirt with him with like a goat head on it.
Oh yeah, we talked about that on In the Weeds. It was
really,
fantastic.
Yeah, weak as hell.
I don't know if I still have it here. I do. Here it is.
Oh yeah, yeah. Look at that.
There we go.
That is a bad T-shirt. Life's not fair, and still
rules. Absolutely rules. He should just take out. Here's a good bit. Every time Cody gets laid out, which is a lot because he's a dork and he just gets beat up on every show, Roman should just like walk by him and just lay that shirt on him and then move on.
It's like he like Salt Poppy is the shirt onto him.
Yeah. It's a Dave Chappelle bit. Oh, he's like, sprinkle some crack on him. Just throw the shirt on him.
Oh yeah.
Let's guys, leave a Wrestle Rumble in the chat. By the way, we're getting a bunch of entries here, so leave a Wrestle Rumble in the chat if you have not already. We will put your name into a drawing. We'll draw 3 names, and if you win, you get free entries into WWE Night of Champions Pick'em and AEW Double or Nothing Pick'em. You can contact Jensen once that is all settled. That'll run. We'll run that drawing just before we do our interview with Cresta. So leave a Wrestle Rumble in the chat. Look at free entry and a chance to win over $500 in prizes. So there you go, everybody. All right, let's move on to our other spotlight.
Our product is what it is. We're going straight up the middle.
Impact Under Siege is tomorrow night. It'll be, I guess, headlined by Steve Macklin against PCO. We have Trinity and Giselle Shaw on the show as well. I think maybe actually, you know what probably
Grace
will headline.
will probably main event.
Yeah, Grace, yeah. Jordan Grace, Deonna Purrazzo for the Knockouts Championship will most likely headline, and it should. We have Trey Miguel and Chris Sabin for the X Division title. The tag team titles, we have Subculture, Flash Morgan Webster and Mark Andrews against Ace of Bays, Chris Bay and Ace Austin. And there's a lot of Nick Aldis and Kenny King is on this show as well. So Impact Under Siege is on Friday night against a taped SmackDown. What's sticking out to you on the show, Jensen?
Dude, this is a good card. Like I'll say, I'm really not that excited for Macklin versus PCO. Like I think Macklin works his ass off, and I think PCO is great at like the things that he does. I just not like necessarily looking forward to that match that much. Although it's an ODQ match, which is like it will be really good because both guys thrive in that situation, especially PCO. In all honesty, PCO kind of needs that situation for it to be like really interesting at this point because like that's the stuff you want to see PCO do. And Macklin's super versatile; he can do whatever, but he's proven in like Monsters Ball matches and stuff like that at Impact that like he can go in these kind of scenarios too. So I think it'll be good. I'm just, I think it's like super obvious, that Macklin's going to retain there. I think that Purrazzo and Jordan Grace is going to be really, really good. I like the idea. I think I talked about it on this show before. I like the idea of eventually them doing Purrazzo versus Macklin for the world title. I think that would be really interesting. But I also want to see Jordan Grace in the world title mix. And there's a stipulation in this match with Purrazzo that if Grace loses, she can't challenge for the Knockouts title as long as Purrazzo has it. So if they can figure out a way to make Jordan lose against Deonna in this match without like hurting Jordan too much to where they could rebound her and like get her in the world title picture soon after this, I like that idea. Because I do expect Deonna to retain. But I love Jordan. So like if Jordan's not going to be the Knockouts champion, you got to get her in the world title mix or the X Division title mix or something. I mean, all these matches look really good. In all honesty, I think the best match of the whole show is going to be Ace Austin and Chris Bay versus Flash Morgan Webster and Mark Andrews. Subcultures are a really, really good team. I think that those guys were like really underused in the WWE system, especially because, I covered NXT UK for the Weekender for years. So like, and Mark Andrews was a guy I was familiar with pre WWE because like he had like a TNA run, I remember, and stuff before that. And I think Flash Morgan Webster is like super underrated, just like overall. Like I think those two guys are both really, really good. And they'll have Danny Luna in their corner. So I think that's gonna be, and everyone knows how highly I think of Ace Austin and Chris Bay, both of those guys, especially like within Impact Wrestling. So that I think is probably going to be the best match of the night. I think either the best match is going to be Ace of Base versus Subculture or Gianna versus Jordan. One of those two matches will probably be the best match of the night. But the rest of the stuff is really, really good. This is a good card, especially for that. This not being one of their like big 4 pay-per-views. Like this is a good card.
It is a good card overall. I'm looking forward to Deanna and Jordan Grace the most. That they had a good match last time. Rebellion was the last.
I think that was
show?
the last time. Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
When
Deanna,
actually, no, I reviewed it for Fightful.
Hard to Kill.
It was hard to kill. Wait, was it? I now I'm all screwed up. I can't remember. I'm the worst person ever at remembering what name of what pay-per-view happens in which month. I'm so bad at that. Unless it's like WrestleMania that happens at the same time every year, and I've been watching it for 30 years. I'm so bad at remembering what happens when. I think it was Hard to Kill though. No, it was Rebellion. I reviewed the damn show.
You're confusing me. Now you're confusing me.
Well,
it was Rebellion. I was correct. It was Rebellion. Okay. And then Jensen jumps in with, no, I don't think so. And then I confuse myself. Just listen to me, everybody.
I review all the big 4 shows. I just can't remember which one's which.
Everybody listen to me. It was Rebellion. So they had a good match at Rebellion. I expect this to be even better because of kind of the stipulation that Grace can't really challenge if she loses this match. So I expect the sense of urgency to be extremely high. And this, I think Deanna's going to win, and then we'll see what they do with Jordan. If she maybe takes some time off, if she does go to the X division and goes after potentially Trey Miguel, if she goes up to the world title picture, because they've mixed that before. They've got good reason to try it again with the talent they have in the knockouts. In the knockouts division. We got the 6-way scramble for the #1 contendership as well. It's possible Gresham wins that, and then you maybe do something with Grace and Grace and Gresham going for the world title type of thing. Like there's a mixture there of Grace, Gresham, Purrazzo, Macklin that's very possible and could align coming out of this pay-per-view in some way. And that could mean Jordan winning the knockouts title as well. So that's maybe something to keep an eye on. Trinity having her first live match, because the match against Kylan King was taped, and I don't think they edited it or anything, but it'll be her first like live match on pay-per-view. Very interested in that against Giselle Shaw. Nick Aldis, Nick Aldis confronted Macklin after Macklin won the title. He's facing Kenny King. Seems like they're going to, kind of continue to heat up Nick Aldis and probably move him into a title picture at some point. I would assume heading into at least Slammiversary. I know there's going to be at least one show. They have the June show before Slammiversary, so they'll probably continue to just keep Nick Aldis hot until then. And then, you mentioned the tag team match. That should be great. I expect Ace of Base to retain, but that's probably a show stealer of a match. And look, Chris Sabin and Trey Miguel is going to be really good too. So it's a good card.
Yeah, good card. Really good card. Really good card. I'll be checking that out tomorrow night. Impact
Plus, everybody. We will have a post-show review. I believe Joel and Cresta are doing the post-show for Impact Under Siege, so everyone can watch that as well. And they got the post-show tonight after Impact, along with the ROH post-show.
I'm gonna give a big motherfucking shout out.
Big motherfucking shout out to a man that Nick Gage does not like, and that is Matt Cardona, who won the House of Glory championship. And then it was announced House of Glory is going to be on Premier Streaming Network, which absolutely rules, because I mentioned this a little while ago when they did Loki versus Kenta, and like it wasn't available to watch. We had to watch a fan cam version of the match. I need House of Glory streaming. Some shows are on Fight, but then some shows weren't on Fight. Now they're going to be on Premier Streaming Network. That they're building up a good word I'm looking for, library of content there for Premier Streaming Network. So now they're going to have House of Glory. Matt Cardona wins another championship, and then he lost to Cole Radrick on Sunday. So I guess Cole Radrick is technically the House of Glory champion, the linear champion here.
Yes. Shout out to the homie Cole. That's how you got your picture with him. I
drove 2 hours just to get a picture with Cole Radrick. That was the only reason I went there. Yeah.
You finally posted our picture in like the comments of that. Cole, good guy. Matt Cardona won the Hog Heavyweight Championship over Jacob Fatu. It was a good match. Like the finish was good. Fatu was going for hit. So Steph DeLander, of course, has been like Cardona. The two of them have had like a team on the Indies recently, and DeLander got involved. The referee got distracted and stuff, or like so you know how things happen when someone else gets involved in the match. Stuff gets a little wonky. Fatu winds up going up top, does his like double jump moonsault off the top, and before he can actually jump, Cardona hits Fatu's legs out from under him. And then Cardona does his second rope radio silence, or if you watch GCW, the sack rider, as Effie would call it. And then pin Fatu to win the title. And Fatu had that title for like over 200 days. So like, big win for Cardona. Another, the guy's out there collecting championships. And it's funny because Matt Cardona is a guy that, as much as, obviously I watch more independent wrestling than I watch any other type of wrestling. And I honestly still, there's something about me, I still don't even consider Cardona like an indie wrestler. He still, to me, feels like just a mainstream wrestler who just like is doing indies to kill time almost. But I don't mean that in a bad way, just because I always feel like he's always on that brink of like, if WWE wanted him back, he like, or like if you wanted to go back to WWE, I feel like the opportunity is there. If you wanted to go to AEW, it'd be there. He's done Impact. He just feels like he has so many options. He can really do whatever he wants. Not to mention how successful the Wrestling Major Figure podcast is, and like the toy lines they have. And it's like Cardona is the man, and it's cool as hell that he can do whatever he wants. But it's just still like almost strange to me to see him pop up in like indie after indie after indie, and not just like popping up and just doing a couple appearances. He's popping up, winning these championships, and making like repeat appearances as like the face of these companies, and I think that's really, really cool. And he's doing independent wrestling a really big, not necessarily a favor because it's mutually beneficial for him as well. But like, you know what I mean? Like it's one of these things where I think years from now, we'll look back on this Cardona indie run and we're going to be like, wow, this is actually something really special he accomplished. And this is just another piece of that on top of everything he's already done, the GCW title, AIW titles, everywhere he's been, belt after belt after belt after belt. And now you can add the House of Glory Championship on top of that, heading into this new streaming deal. By the way, this show was on Fight Plus. Like you could watch this past one on Fight if you want to watch it. But if it's going forward on the Premier streaming, that's probably smart. They want, Cardona's face on the whole thing of like, hey, this is our company and this is where you can watch it. And this is our champion. So yeah, shout out to Matt Cardona. He's a guy who, like I said, I've felt like since the day he left WWE that he's been on borrowed indie time, but he's now at this point, he's like a couple years in, he's a staple of independent wrestling. And he's a really, really important piece of the scene, and good for him for doing that. And like, he's totally reinvented himself since leaving the WWE a couple years ago. So, I mean, I think he's someone that wrestlers really need to look at and take things from as far as like, look at what he's doing. And it's like a blueprint of like how to make money on independent wrestling, how to reinvent yourself, how to think outside of the box, and how to like how to be willing to put, even if you're a really big star, to like not humble yourself, but like kind of put yourself in that spot of being like, I'm not selling out arenas like I was for the last decade plus, but I'm willing to go into a bar with 50 fans there and put on the same performance I would put on in front of 20,000 people, in front of 50 people, and show up and sign autographs and sell merch and be the face of these companies for these fans. I think that's really damn cool that Cardona is doing all that.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with you. And I don't know if he has interest in going back to WWE. He's mentioned of like, I still want to do my podcast. I still want to do all these other things. If I'm going to go back, doesn't seem like he wants to be Zack Ryder or anything like that. We know Chelsea Green is there, but also just seems like he's happy just working the indies and everything. I mean, I saw him at GCW on Sunday. He goes out there, he does his match. He gives it his all in there, does his shtick pre-match and everything, telling Cole, hey, lay down for me. And then you could be the broski of the week. I got doctor's note. And then he does his match, and then he's immediately at the gimmick table, immediately selling the merch and everything. Like, he's out here hustling. Bless him for being, for working as hard as he does when it comes to the independent scene. Because, we see it a lot of times with a lot of guys who get released by WWE, and they go about two ways. They either get back on the grind legally and illegally, and they, keep hustling, making a living, or they just kind of fade away. And it's unfortunate when you guys, there's expectations. Oh, the chains are off of them in WWE. It's gonna be so great, and then it just something doesn't click, or they just don't feel like doing as much, and whatever happens to them. Whatever their reason is for not continuing on the way they do, that's how it goes. With Cardona, he was somebody who just wasn't going to be complacent of like, okay, I'll just bide my time. WWE come calling back at some point. It's like, no, I'm going to go out here and I'm going to do what I can in these environments. So good on Matt Cardona. He's doing well on the independent scene, and he's raised the stock and the profile of a few companies. I think GCW is definitely one of them with everything he brought, and being a deathmatch king, and the Nick Gage, which it seems like they might be setting up a second match between them, which needs to happen. It probably didn't happen a while ago, but Gage is wrestling about like once every 6 months at this point. So hopefully that happens soon.
Yeah, I think that's definitely where it's heading. And like, just to your point, like when I was at GCW in Atlanta a few weeks back, or I guess it was last month on 421, I've noticed like, Cardona had his match and Gage came out there. And if I remember correctly, he hit him with like some light tubes and stuff. And after the match, like in between matches, and this is what separates Cardona from like, not necessarily other wrestlers in GCW, because a lot of them do this, but Cardona being the star he is on the indies and still being conscious to do these things. After all of that, I saw him and Seth DeLander, they kind of like snuck off to like a part of center stage. I was kind of saw it in the corner of my eye. And they had like Cardona's phone and stuff, and they were filming like promos. The two of them were cutting promos on wrestlers in like a corner that they were using for like their YouTube and their social medias and stuff. And it's like Cardona is the kind of guy who is optimizing every second he has at these events. Like if he isn't wrestling, he's either at his merch table or he's signing stuff or he's filming stuff. It's just like. And I've seen him say that to other wrestlers too, straight up. I've seen him tell I'm not going to pull the curtain back too much, but you know how it's like being at a GCW show that you've gone to one. You have pretty much like open access to like everything, pretty much.
Yeah.
And like, yeah. And I've seen Cardona be like, I'm surprised there's not more people at these booths. Like he's like looking around, like, why is there not people at their merch stands? Like I'm at the merch stand, and like, why aren't other people at the merch? Like there's time to be at the merch stand right now. You know what I mean? So like. Cardona is just he's a guy that I think people really need to look up to as a blueprint of like how to really do this thing right.
I mean, I agree. Again, not to pull back the curtain too much, but people told me like, yeah, Cardona's like, you need more merch, and
right,
get out there, get more merch out there, start selling these merch. It's like, yeah, probably should. So yeah, Cardona's doing good things. Number 13 in the PWI last year. We'll see where it lands this year. All right, guys, last call for Wrestle Rumble. Put it in the chat. I have everybody collected so far, but last call, get in here, get a free entry, potentially a chance to win a free entry into the Wrestle Rumble. You get entries into Night of Champions and Double or Nothing. All right. So you get 2 entries into the events this weekend. You get, or 1 entry for each event, I should say.
Yes.
So 2 chances to win, basically. And the prize for Double or Nothing is $500 for first place. And the prize for Night of Champions is $500 plus a WWE World Heavyweight title belt. So, those are good prizes right there. A chance to win some real money. And all you got to do is put Wrestle Rumble in the chat. And as Jensen has mentioned, we've had people who have won from our show before. Jake, I feel, has won a couple of times off of that, but he won last time. Didn't Guy Left for Film win?
Kogan,
well?
he may have. He gets in a lot of the contests though, because he watches a lot of the stuff that we do. So like he's got a lot of chances of free entries. There was somebody else that won a free entry from us last week. That was either from because I do like the giveaways on Twitter as well. So like, by the way, follow me on Twitter, y'all. #. I give these away. I'll give another one away for Double or Nothing on Friday. And probably another one for Night of Champions on Friday too. So, but there was someone else came in 5th place that we gave a free entry away to last time. So they paid out 1st through 4th, unfortunately for them, but they one spot away from money. So a lot of our viewers and listeners and stuff who are winning stuff from us are either winning real money or coming super close to winning money, and it's for free just by watching our show. So we appreciate y'all.
And our people who watch this show are very smart because they do not listen to me and my half-baked ideas. They just go against what I say and like, all right, well, Jeremy's throwing out dumb stuff, so let me go against that. And that's how you win.
Well, one of the funny thing is the dude who got 5th place in the last one, he DM'd me and he said, dude, I should have listened to you. I took Brock over Cody. Had he taken Cody over Brock in that match, he would have won at least $100. So,
well, pick Brock this week. All right. Don't be like Jensen is. I respect the loyalty of picking Cody. Brock's winning on Saturday. All right. All right. One more call.
Juggalo 505.
Got you, Juggalo.
505 got in there last minute. Running with the hatchet for the Juggalo army over here.
Here we go. Let's spin. I'm doing a wheel thing here. So we're going to get 3 names. The first one is Money Mark, regular viewer. Money Mark, we appreciate it. Money Mark, that is the first person who has won. Your name is now off the wheel. We will spin it again. Before it was like a random thing, and then I just picked the top 3 names. Now we got a wheel spinning. I should put this on the screen. And Juggalo is our second one.
Ooh,
so Juggalo got in late.
Got in there.
Yeah, he is one. And our final winner is, as the wheel spins, it is Dial F for Film.
Kogan.
Dial F for Film. Those are our 3 winners. So Money Mark, Juggalo, and Dial F for Film. Contact Jensen, DM him, shoot him a message. He will get you hooked up with the entries. Again, you get entries into Double or Nothing and Night of Champions Pick'em. And if you didn't win, that's okay. Head over to WrestleRumble.com and pay $12 for the entry fee. And again, chance to win good prizes. Or keep following Jensen on Twitter. He's doing giveaways. I know a lot of our other friends are doing giveaways as well for Wrestle Rumble. So there's plenty of ways to get a free entry. If you don't get a free entry, again, throw them $12 for an entry. Get a chance to win over $500 in prizes.
And just for anyone new or the way that this works, as Jeremy mentioned, just DM me. I open my DMs. They're open on Twitter. Please. And I don't mean this to be rude. Don't hit me up if I don't know you. Don't ask me for a job at Fightful through my DMs. Don't spam me with random stuff or like beg me for things. I only open my DMs to everybody for the Wrestle Rumble. Now that said, you have until tomorrow night by the time SmackDown ends. Okay, just DM me at FightTalk _FIGHT TALK_. So Kogan, I can get in contact with Kogan either way because he watches everything. Juggalo and Money Mark, both you guys, if you're listening to this, please make sure to DM me, preferably like right now, but just before tomorrow night, before the end of SmackDown, because I just got to make sure to get these over to Wrestle Rumble so they can email you on Saturday morning, so you have time to get your entries. So that's all. Congratulations to Juggalo 505 to Dial F for Film, aka Kogan, and for Money Mark. Y'all all won a free entry for the Wrestle Rumble Pick'em contest for Night of Champions and for Double or Nothing.
Jensen, we're going to run our interview with the great Cresta Starr, who does the Impact post show with Joe Pearl. She's going to be on the AEW Collision post show with Iridian and Riccino, which starts on June 17th. She's a big time on TikTok and Twitch as well. Get into a lot of fun stuff with Cresta. But by the time the interview is over, you'll be gone. So I'll let you go ahead and plug everything you got to plug.
Yes. So you're able to run the interview and everything with what you're doing?
Yeah. I'm good.
Okay.
I just got to go because Shawn Michaels is speaking.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. The Heartbreak Kid. Understand.
Yeah.
Hopefully he doesn't lose his smile. You can follow me on Twitter at FightTalk _FIGHT TALK_. Excuse me. You can use code FightTalk on independentwrestling.tv or IWTV.live. Appreciate when y'all use that code. Just lets the platform know that you're hearing about from me. And the Spotlight, obviously, watch this every Thursday. Sometimes we're at 8:30 a.m. Usually we're at 9:30 a.m. Make sure to hit the subscribe button right here and the like button. And listen to the Fightful Select Weekender podcast. It's every Sunday at FightfulSelect.com. This week, it may be on Monday. It'll probably be on Monday because there's like with the pay-per-views this weekend, the Weekender's going to get lost in that mix. And then I have work off on Monday anyway for the holiday. So I'll have time to just catch up on whatever I need to catch up on record on Monday morning. And so that'll probably be the plan for the Weekender listeners out there. I'll probably do it on Monday this week just because it would make a lot more sense to do it on Monday. And also kind of somewhat of an announcement. I put it out there on my birthday to let some people know. But if you were a fan of myself and Doug on the RVD Tito for Life YouTube channel, if you remember him, he was a part of the Bill and Doug combo back at the OG YouTubers, the TNA addicts. Me and Doug used to do a show called Live Rounds. We put it on hiatus for a while. We will be returning next month on the RVD Tito for Life YouTube channel. It'll be once again at 10 p.m. Eastern on Tuesday nights. So please join us over there. We'll have some more stuff as we kind of like get the ball rolling on that. But if you want to, subscribe over there, we'd appreciate that for when the show returns. I think we're going to do the first week of June and we'll do weekly again. So check that out. Live Rounds, RVD Tito for Life YouTube channel. It's the number 4, RVD Tito for Life. So appreciate y'all and appreciate you, Jeremy. Good seeing everyone in the chat. And yeah, I'm going to go rest for a minute before I have to talk to people for like an hour straight. Take a little nap, and then I'll go see the movie tonight. Maybe go see the Machine. See if I can go see Fast X again, dude. Honestly, I would have rather seen the Mario movie 2 more times to see Fast X. But
Stephen Jensen's been fired. Everybody, tell him bye. You'll never see him. He'll be back. There he is.
Oh no, I was just waving to you. See y'all.
I know. I removed him as he was trying to speak. I apologize, Steve Jensen. All right, everybody. Let's get into on this channel. Later on today, it will be her and Joel Pearl reviewing Impact, the Go Home show for Under Siege. Then she will be reviewing Under Siege with Joel Pearl tomorrow night. And starting June 17th, she will be part of the AEW Collision post show. We talked to Cresta about that. We talked to her about just video games, retro games, her Twitch channel. Talked to her about drag, which I was a big fan of. Talked to her about just wrestling in general, a lot of Impact, some AEW stuff as well. How she just became a fan of wrestling and things like that. So very fun interview with Cresta Starr, who is a big part of this channel. We love Cresta. She's fantastic. First time I've interacted with Cresta on screen. So it was very fun getting to chat with her for about an hour. Went about 55 minutes with this interview. So we'll cue that up right now. Here we go, everybody. The Creator Spotlight with Cresta Starr. Okay, everyone, the Creator Spotlight here on the Spotlight. I'm still Jeremy Lambert. That's still Stephen Jensen. And below us, a name you know, a face you're familiar with here on Fightful. She's one half of the Impact Post Show, and for she has to work with Joel Pearl every Thursday. She is 1/3 of the upcoming AEW Collision Post Show with Riccacino and Iridia. She's a TikTok star. She is Cresta Starr. Cresta, how are you doing?
I'm alive, and that's more than I can answer for. How are you guys? How are you, Jeremy? How are you, Stephen? Steven. Your name always throws me off. It's Steven, not Stephen.
No, that happens to so many people. Like
Diamond Sheik. Diamond Sheik married you, Stephen.
He did. That happens every now and then. Well, most people just call me Jensen, to be fair. So like it's it just is what it is. But yes, good to see you, Cresta. Of course, I know Cresta through doing the Impact pay-per-view post shows whenever they happen, every one, I guess 4 times a year is when I'm on there talking Impact with Cresta and Joel. So yeah, good to have you back on here for the first time. But good to see you, Cresta.
Excited, happy to be here.
Cresta, let's start with an easy one. How'd you get started in wrestling content creation space, or just content creation space in general?
All right. So wrestling is a kind of a complicated story. I've been watching wrestling. There's pictures of me playing duck hunt with my diapers with the gun. And then in the background, you see the TV with WWF going on in the background. I stopped watching around, I want to say, the Ruthless Aggression era. John Cena literally just came out. He literally just did his promo with Kurt Angle, and then I had to go to work. And work lasted a very long time, if you know what I mean. I started recently in 2018. I had moved into my grandmother's old house, and me and my little brother used to butt heads a lot because, little siblings, they get on your nerves. That's what they're supposed to do. I was hanging out in his room one day, and he had on wrestling. He always had on wrestling. I ignored it. But it was a series of you had it on, and then he was playing, I think it was 2K19, and he was playing somebody, and their legs and their body was half in the ring and half outside, and I started dying laughing. He's like, you could watch this in wrestling. I'm like, nobody's body's half inside the ring, half outside the ring. Then I started watching it, and really Money in the Bank 2018 is what did it for me. I believe that Ronda Rousey was challenging Nia Jax for not Ronda Rousey. Yeah, it was Nia Jax, Ronda Rousey for the women's title, and Alexa Bliss cashed in. I had never seen a woman like Nia Jax wrestle ever. The biggest woman I ever seen was China. So to see Nia Jax, I was like, wait a minute, hold on now. They got girls like this, and I was a Ronda Rousey stan when she was in UFC MMA. I always thought it was funny how she left and WWE was like, she got bored and came here. I'm like, okay, that's how it happened, but okay, let's go with that. I'm here for it. I like Ronda Rousey. So that's what really started. I started getting into all the characters, Baron Corbin on my TV every week, Roman Reigns before he was a heel. Do you remember that? Seeing them every week, and my little was like, yo, if you still like wrestling, buddy, have you seen Impact Wrestling? At first, I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot. And I think they were doing their Wrestle House or whatever it was. It was too much for me at first. But now that I've been doing it and just uploading the reactions, I've been doing content creation for God knows for like 10 plus years, mainly in the video game space. I just started uploading the videos I would do for video games for wrestling, just recording it. And it took off from there. What really set it off was that people thought I thought that wrestling is real. So you know what? Let's go with it. Let's go. If you think it's real, then I think it's real. And if you think that I think it's real, well, I have a bridge to sell you in Idaho. Come on, let's go. Like, that's how it started.
That's so funny. So there's people so you got a lot of attention for people thinking that you thought wrestling was real, and then you just like rolled with it.
Yeah, like, bro, I knew wrestling was fake when I was a kid. When Triple H kidnapped Stephanie McMahon, took her to Vegas, got married, and nothing happened. That's right. Like, ain't no way. But I react so, I guess, viscerally. People are like, oh my God, she really thinks this is real. And it's like, come on. I seen Big Boss Man get hung, show up to work next week. I seen Paul Bearer get buried, show up to work next week. Come on now. But it's entertainment. Why not lose yourself in it? Quite literally. People have whole arguments over if Thanos really did the snap. And what about Beverly Hills Cop? People will argue about things that aren't real. Let me argue about people that aren't real either. You really think Hulk Hogan's name is Hulk? His name is Terry.
Right.
That's in court. That's in court that they are two different people right there.
Yes.
Exactly. It's kind of like when he says, I got kids. He's like, how many kids you guys? Like, how many tax write-offs can I get?
Oh my gosh. So what started you in like the video game content creation stuff, and like what kind of games or like what type of content within video game content creation?
I used to be a huge slutty nerd, like played World of Warcraft. I used to say professionally, but I never was professional. I was just in like a server first guild being really sweaty. But I would just upload League of Legends. I've been playing video games, like I said before, since like Duck Hunt. So it started off with World of Warcraft. We would do raids, and I would stream my raids for people to see. But my PC at the time was dog. When I got a new PC, it mainly switched over to League of Legends, RPGs like Chrono Cross, Chrono Trigger, Legend of Dragoon, Mario RPG, stuff like I didn't get a chance to play when I was a kid. I got two brothers. You think I was using a Nintendo? Wasn't happening. And I don't know. I've just been streaming forever. I remember exactly what started it. Matter of fact, I had a dumb ex-boyfriend was like, oh, you're a girl. You're on the internet. They'll just throw money on you. And I believed it. The biggest scam. And I'm an attention whore. What can I say? I like to entertain people. That's why I do drag now. So
that's fascinating, because like, so for people that don't know, she was using a lot of gamer terms there, talking about sitting there playing World of Warcraft, being extra sweaty. Like that means she's grinding the game. She's trying to win too. She's not just playing casually. She's sweating. She's trying to get the dub. That's cool. I didn't know that about you. I didn't know that's what you came from. So do you like? Are you familiar with streamers like Asmongold and those kind of people that are like big World of Warcraft like Twitch streamers, or like have you all just kind of done like your own thing in that space? Or
I've been streaming so long. I've seen Phantom Lord come and go, Casey Tron come and go.
Wreckful.
Right, yeah, I've seen Wreckful come and go. Well, Wreckful hasn't come and gone, but you know what I mean, like,
yeah.
But I've seen so many people, and I've never been a big time streamer. I wish I was, but I've just been playing games. I kind of stay in my own lane. And in New York City, I started doing events. So League of Legends had their worlds in New York a couple of years ago. I want to say 2017, 2018. No, that's a lot. Maybe 2016 even. And I had did a lot of League of Legends content at the time, but I also do event planning in my muggle life. Well, I used to. So we had a whole after party here. We got to meet a lot of the pro players, but I'm all about fostering a community. I like to talk. It's my favorite thing in the whole wide world. But if we're not talking about the same thing, I'm bored. So I want you to come in, like what I like. I will be a translator, a cunning linguist, a community curator, whatever. So if it's video games, has a lot of overlap with wrestling, which has a lot of overlap with this. And to me, wrestling and drag is one and the same. You put on the lashes, the hair, and the hair and the heels, that you go outside and either you power bomb someone or you do a death drop. It's the same thing.
Okay, we got to talk about drag because I didn't know it was this deep with you. So how did that get started? And then I got a lot of kind of drag questions and drag queen questions as well. Because I don't know if people know that about me, that I'm a big fan of the drag queen.
I only know that I only know that you are, because like whenever given the opportunity, you'll start deep diving this. This is the one thing I know nothing about. So like this is I'm interested, but this is gonna be Jeremy's. Yeah, go ahead and take it away, because I probably won't even have follow-up questions for this. This is so outside of my realm. But Jeremy, yeah, get your questions out there, Jeremy. I'm very interested.
Go ahead, Jeremy. Hit me. Hit me with
so
your best
how
shot.
how did that start for you getting into drag?
I went to performing arts school here in New York. Shout out to LaGuardia. I got kicked out of there for cutting school. Shout out to LaGuardia again. But while I was there, I'm a little ashamed. But let me start the story over again. Let me try this. I grew up very ignorant, unfortunately. And it wasn't until I went to a performing arts school and I had someone who was gay be like, girl, you're doing it wrong. You're saying all the wrong things. Let me open up your eyes. They took me to this gay club called Esquilitas in New York. It doesn't exist anymore. But when I say something changed within me that day, but I only saw that there were men. So I was like, women don't do this. And as I got older, the women that did do it were trans and queer. And I always tell people I'm cis het scum. I'm just an ally. So I never want to take a space from someone who may be queer or gay or whatever, from something that's basically for their community. I ended up working at this place called Dallas BBQs. And there I met my friend Jessie, who you guys might more commonly know as Brita Filter on RuPaul's Drag Race. When they started doing drag, my eye opened up even more and we lost contact. They went to Drag Race. Then I went to TwitchCon last year and I saw Bitch Pudding, the winner of Dragula season 1.
Whoa. You can't just walk past. There's someone called Bitch Pudding.
Yes, but it's BIQCCH Pudding. She won Dragula, which is like, if RuPaul is WWE, Dragula is AEW or WCW, if you will. So they won Dragula season 1 and they were a mustached woman and they were so funny. And it really changed my whole perspective. It changed between RuPaul's Drag Race and meeting Bitch Pudding. It changed my whole perspective of what drag is, could, and what it can be. A mustached woman, cisgendered women, it doesn't matter what you identify as on the gay, straight, homosexuality spectrum. Drag is art and it's a performance. So I just said, screw it, I'm going to do it. I don't have a drag mother. I'm a motherless child. So I just said, YouTube exists. If you can learn how to be a rapper and code AI on YouTube, I can learn how to glue down a mustache. I can be Vince McMahon. And my drag has pretty much become a love letter to video games and wrestling. I have so many concepts in my head. Like I have a whole Orange Cassidy concept. I haven't done my first show yet. I got a whole Bianca Belair thing, Ultimate Warrior with songs. I just have to get out there, but I'm the loser and I stay home and watch wrestling.
Yeah, I honestly I'm glad, because I'm gonna be fully transparent. I honestly didn't know that drag, that is what drag actually was. I'm aware of drag, but I guess I would have, this might sound super ignorant, I don't mean it to, but because we've interviewed Ashley, she's a cosplayer. It seems like a lot of similarities kind of in those worlds. Is that kind of fair to say? Because it's I don't know. I just don't know a lot about drag, and I didn't know that many cis women did it. I just didn't know that. That's actually, I just learned a lot just then.
I will say the difference between drag and cosplay is that I feel cosplay is more, I'm going to model and I want to do it verbatim, while drag is more of the performance, the art piece. So when I say I want to do something like Orange Cassidy, am I going to look like Orange Cassidy? Maybe. You can see the similarities, But Orange Cassidy wouldn't give you the rock,
I see. You exactly answered my question just then, because that's why I was getting the cosplay kind of in my head, was you were mentioning you were gonna like dress up like these characters you're just talking about. So I see it's like a performance kind of based on someone versus like a direct, like you're out like at like a Comic-Con type thing, like pretending you're Orange Cassidy, looking exactly like Orange Cassidy.
It could be a 1-for-1, but to me, when I think of Orange Cassidy cosplay, I think of maybe an ab plate, jean jacket, jeans, sneakers. When I think of drag Orange Cassidy, maybe a chest plate. If you want, you could tape your boobs out, whatever it is, put down the shirt, but I would bedazzle that jacket. My sneakers would be heels, and my glasses would be like Lady Gaga. So when I go out and I want to perform, it might start off with the lazy but as the song goes on, it's like you want to give levels to it, almost like ring psychology. Orange Cassidy does come out there, do your sad kicks, whatever, but as the fight goes on, you got the orange punch. I'm giving you energy. So it's the same thing of telling a story in a ring. You want to tell a story in your performance.
And that's like mainly like done on a stage, like live in front of a crowd. So like that's the whole is that. But like when you say perform as Orange Cassidy, like that's pretty much what the performance is like you're doing like a dance entertainment type.
Yeah, like a lip sync or even a spoken word. You could do something like that. So if Orange Cassidy had like a promo, like the only promo that sticks out in my head is last week or 2 weeks ago, he was backstage with Renee after he wrestled a match. And he said, "Renee, I'm tired." She said, "Me too, bud."
Yeah. Yeah.
But you would do something like that, have it mixed into a bunch of other songs, and then you want to entertain the people, because drag, you're just giving me money, girl. So how am I going to give you money if I'm doing just...
wait, that's part of it I'm forgetting about. Wait, so you're making money as this is happening in real time. Oh, okay. So
I haven't drew a dime yet. Call me Jeff Jarrett.
Oh, wow. This is actually fascinating. Like, I didn't know like any of this. Wow. Okay, Jeremy, if you want to get like, I know you have like actual like deep dive questions about this.
I'm glad you're learning something. Jensen, when I first watched Drag Race, it was the most fascinating thing in the world to me. And yes, the performances are amazing. I've been to a couple of drag shows, some of the big time, some of the smaller ones, and just like local stuff. And they are just 100% performers. And Cresta's right in that a lot of crossover between wrestling. You're putting on an outfit, you're transforming into a different person, and you're going out there and you're doing your performance for the people, and you're giving whatever you're serving. I'll try to use a little bit of drag term here. Who are some of your favorite drag performers, Cresta?
Bianca Del Rio. I think
Let's go. That's my favorite. That's absolute favorite.
But I don't know if other people think I'm funny. And the kind of comedy that I do is very much shady, Bianca Del Rio. Like, you wore that outside? I mean, I'm brave too, but goddamn. Like, it's funny to me because to me, it's that backhanded, funny comedy. That's why, like, when you talk about the overlap of wrestling, when someone calls someone else a carny piece of shit on wrestling, that means you out here working, Don Callis. You are working. And I love it. Because when you see someone who loves the sport so much that they're really ready and willing to do the best, the worst acting you've ever seen of their life. Come on now. It's the same thing with drag. It's a joke. It's funny. It's comedy. You're in on the joke. One of my other favorite drag queens, Sasha Colby. She just won Drag Race season 15, if I'm not mistaken. There's also a level of femininity that comes with drag that in my everyday life I don't typically experience. I tell people that I'm either Cresta Starr or don't perceive me. I'm No Face from Spirited Away. Leave me alone. Don't even look in my direction. I'm this. So it's nice to see people being feminine. Sometimes you want to go on stage, whip your little ponytail, feel the fantasy. Another drag queen that I really enjoy, of course, Brita Filter. I love her. I know her in real life, so I'll always cap for her. And one that's never been on Drag Race, Miss Sherry Vine. She's old as shit, and I love her to death. There's wrestling drag queens. I have to give a shout out to this podcast that doesn't come on anymore called Nobody's Watching Wrestling, Miss Berica Andrews. She has a beard, and they talked about wrestling from Survivor Series. So I think they stopped around the launch of AEW, which is very sad. So
Bob the Drag Queen is a big wrestling fan.
10 out of 10. Love Bob the Drag Queen. Didn't know that.
Yes, I listened to an interview with him, and he was talking about wrestling. Big Mick Foley fan, and I was like, I'm just gonna write an article on this because it's a great crossover for me. Yes, yeah, there you go. Bianca Del Rio, my absolute favorite. I saw her live. One of the greatest quotes ever that I still use is when she was on Drag Race, and let me ask you a question. What do you do successfully? Just quickly. An all-time dig.
I had the pleasure of seeing Bianca before she was on Drag Race in New York City. They did a what is that? They did a viewing party for the winner of season 5, and she was the host. And I was thinking to myself, this bitch is funny. If she went on Drag Race, she would win. And sure as shit, season 6, she got on and she won. New York City has a good track record. Listen, I would do it one year, maybe when I don't know. I got bad knees.
Sherry Vine, I think she opened for Bianca, and she sang "How I Blew Ya" to the tune of "Hallelujah." Just an amazing performance. Everybody just Google or YouTube Sherry Vine "How I Blew Ya." But it's every time I hear "Hallelujah" now. I hear that song. I hear "How I Blew Ya," and it's a problem around Christmas time when they play that song a lot.
Just make up words. That's what I do with the Cody Rhodes song. Just make up words.
Okay, yeah. Hey, for what it's worth, I looked up bitch pudding on Google, and looks like a pro wrestler.
Yeah.
I mean, the makeup, like the face paint makeup type, like that's I see what you're talking about.
If I had to pin bitch pudding's aesthetic, she would be Poison from Final Fight, Street Fighter, the various one with the top hat, the crop top, the whip, and the booty shorts. That's bitch.
Oh, the mic went out. Oh no.
I think she kicked like the cord or something.
Got unplugged.
No, that's fascinating. This is obviously a world I know nothing about.
That's exactly what happened. I kicked my mic.
I know that game. But yeah, that makes sense though. I could definitely see like the crossover between like this and like pro wrestling and like that kind of world. Very interesting. So when you do your drag show, like when you're up there, are you doing a whole mixture of song, dance, comedy? And how long is like a set while you're up there?
So I officially started this year. This is my first year. I haven't booked a show yet. So if you're watching this and you want to book me, I haven't booked a show yet. But I did apply for the TwitchCon Drag Showcase because it's all going to come full circle. And again, I did go to a performing arts school. So I can either sing, play an instrument, or I can lip sync. And to me, lip syncing would be more ideal. I would love to do like a mashup, maybe like, also you got to know your audience. I don't think I could go up to a gay club and do in the middle of my song, you know, all men are created equal, but you look at me and Samoa Joe, you can see that statement is not true. Then I'm like, what the hell is that? Conversely, if I go to like a straight establishment and I try to do the Bianca Del Rio, let me ask you a fair and honest question. What do you do successfully, quickly? People can be like, you know? So in an ideal world, I would love to do something like, if I could go to like a WrestleCon and they have like a little drag showcase, I would totally cut it up to Joe Hendry's theme song because I'm a clown, you know?
Yeah, I would love to get.
Unfortunately, Hulk Hogan's theme song slaps. It has slapped since the day it was born in the 80s. But can you imagine when it starts coming down and it hurts inside? That would be something I would love to do. But until that day comes, again, call me Jeff Jarrett. Never drew a dime. Hardest working woman in show business.
What you mentioned Joe Henry. I think everybody who watches the Impact post show knows your love for Joe Henry. So what is it about Joe Hendry that just has you so attracted to this man?
Respectfully and disrespectfully, that's a fine man. Hallelujah, that's a fine man. Besides that, his promos when he was coming to Impact were the worst. He took some man's baby, he took some man's inheritance, you cheated on some man's. You're the worst. And you're a motivational speaker. You're quite literally the worst. But I'm here for it. I love a heel. I love heels in wrestling. You get to do any and almost everything you want. It's kind of like my obsession for Zelina Vega. When she told Kayla Braxton, I may be shorter than you, but you're still beneath me.
That's a great line.
Yeah. I love a good heel. So to me, Joe Hendry is funny. Now, finding out the history of Joe Hendry made me love him more. He was on Impact before. And apparently he was trying to get a contract. He would screw everybody out of everything to get one. And then he left. When the world needed him most, he left. So I'm a fan. I'm a fan. Plus, remixing your songs to make fun of people. I literally built my TikTok empire on adrenaline in my hole. So I can appreciate I literally can appreciate you were indie famous, now you're really rich, but to me you will always be Edge's bitch. How rude. How rude. You're gonna disrespect me in song. How rude.
That's incredible. I mean,
he's a genius.
I mean,
Jensen, how do you feel about adrenaline in my hole?
I mean, I'm wearing, I'm rocking Cody right now. I'm using that today. Like, I mean, that's gonna be a regular term in my household. Adrenaline in my hole. I
stole that from Candy Lee. She's an independent wrestler. She's put on Twitter adrenaline in my hole because I think this happened when Cody was wrestling and Nia Jackson just ripped her hole on TV. So she was yelling out my hole. So one day on my TikTok, I was just recording like adrenaline in my hole, about to get beat up in Espanol.
That's good.
Literally, all you see on my TikTok is just that song, and it went from like 20,000 followers to 80,000. So Joe Hendry, you on to something? I see you, Pimpin.
Wow, that's so funny. Who else are some of the? I know I get a good idea for it, like whenever we talk for the post shows, but like who are some other people that you regularly watch in Impact, like when you're reviewing the shows that you consider yourself a big fan of at this point?
Mean Gia Miller, because she is so funny on commentary, because she's legitimately like, it's that drag queen backhanded where she's like, well, I don't know what he's doing, and it's the southern accent that just sends me. Gia Miller is funny. Thanks to Joe Pearl, I am now a firm believer of Johnny Swinger and Zicky Dice.
Oh yeah, of course.
Because it's one of those things where it's like, even if you're not a heel and you're someone like Johnny Swinger, you've lost so much. I want to see you win, God damn it. I want to see you win. I want to see you win. Mike Speedball Bailey.
Yeah.
When I say the wrestling that this man does, holy hell. Like, not a heel, not a face, just straight wrestling. And I feel like he's one of those wrestlers that can do technical really good, high flying really good. He's a hard hitter. He's just amazing. Josh Alexander doesn't get enough fucking flowers for him holding the Impact banner. He is such a good wrestler. I remember him way back in the day when he was with the North, and I thought him and Ethan Page were great. So to see him, like, unfortunately relinquishing the title the way that he did, I hope he has a speedy recovery, but like, put some respect on his name. Joe Pearl told me that Steve Macklin told him that he's like, well, Cresta called me generic. And I'm like, it's not that you're generic. It's not it. Listen, Stone Cold was generic. Y'all had black trunks, black boots. I can do like this. I guess who you are. That's nothing wrong with that. I will say Macklin is phenomenal. I forget that he was in Forgotten Sons, and God damn it, that's amazing. I think Steve Macklin needs more respect on his name too. Just the Impact roster in general. I've loved Rosemary from the first time I found out women were doing hardcore matches. You know what I mean? And I tell people that a lot of your favorites in every promotion come from Impact. A lot of your favorite moments come from Impact. The Samoa Joe Scott Steiner promo, classic. Hulk Hogan, we coming for. No, that was WCW.
That was WCW. That was WCW. We did get Hulk Hogan getting a guitar smashed over his head by Jeff Jarrett, and then them never paying that off though. That was Impact.
There was also Bully Ray with aces and eights turning on Jeff Hardy, thinking that Jeff Hardy had a friend. You know what I mean? Like, there are so many great moments in Impact that people don't give it a chance for. Now, I wasn't watching from the TNA transitioning into Impact Dixie Carter mess, because that's what I understand. A lot of people are like, you know what, you can spit in my face so many times before. I'm like, I didn't sign up for this bukkake. I've had it. So I get it. But I will say Impact is a different product now. I implore people to watch it. Khan, who used to be in the Ascension, who I used to
Yep.
shit on for free, is now at least doing better. I at least get to see this man wrestle. If you've never seen the Ascension in NXT, you're not going to know anything about Khan. You're going to think he was a jobber if you remember them. Now in the design, even though they're not really doing a lot, you get to see this man showcased. Same thing with Trinity. I've only ever known Trinity Naomi in WWE. Impact is a different beast. And in my opinion, Impact Wrestling has the best women's division out there, period. Everybody has good athletes, great athletes, amazing athletes, but Impact Knockouts division is the best representation of women wrestling on TV, bar none. I mean, I'm sorry. Other places have great moments, but the division as a whole is better from mid-card, lower card to the main event scene.
Yeah, I've actually said that a lot myself. The way the caveat for me with that, to be fair, is that I think, this is just me personally, I think that if you're looking at it like brand by brand, like if you're looking at like Raw, SmackDown, Impact, AEW, like if you look at it like that, I think that Impact definitely, like bar none, hands down, has the best collection of women. But like WWE as like an overall system, if you put all those women together, that's more of an argument for me. Would be like, if you put like Charlotte and Becky and Bayley and Sasha, and Sasha's not there anymore, but all these people together on one brand. But I'm agreeing with your point though. Is like Impact Wrestling's Knockouts division. If you're talking about watching one singular show of wrestling, I think that they have the best women that you can find collectively in the world. So.
I will say the caveat to the WWE thing is only when it all works together, because I would be a liar if I said Becky Lynch being the man that every woman in that part, even Nia Jax who broke old girl's nose, everyone, they played their part. But when it doesn't work, you got Charlotte Flair throwing a belt at Becky's feet. When it doesn't work,
sure.
It's awful. Same thing with AEW. I love AEW. Seeing how far Britt Baker, Jade Cargill, just to name two women, how far they've come and how they're like dominating the main event scene. That's great. But where's Serena Deeb? What is Hikaru Shida doing half the time? Why do the originals come out one by one when the outcasts are going to jump you? Like, there are certain things where it's like, bro, you've got all the pieces. Make it work. Ah!
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I think that makes a lot of sense what you're saying with that, because they do treat, it feels like when you see the women on the Impact show, it's never like, it's always like worth being on, like, if that makes sense. Like you don't feel like you're wasting your time watching. Right. Yeah. And they're really good at making their championships matter. Like, their Knockouts title is super important. As a matter of fact, because they do so much intergender wrestling and Impact, like the Knockouts champion, you can conceivably believe could also be the world champion. Like,
absolutely.
I could totally see Jordan Grace or Deonna Purrazzo winning the world title. So, like, as a matter of fact, they should do a story at some point of Deonna versus Macklin, I think, honestly.
Oh, that would be camp. That would be that would be iconic on so many levels. Like when on Twitter the other day, someone had said, "Oh, CJ Perry, I see you really did break up with Miro." And Miro quote tweeted it, said, "She's with Bobby Lashley. You ain't know." That's the type of shit I like to see. That's what I want to see, Deonna Purrazzo versus Steve Macklin. Oh, I mean, I don't mean to bring up Voldemorts of wrestling, but if y'all could do a good storyline with Tessa Blanchard and Sami Callihan, who was a biggity piece of crap, beating, busting people open every week, you could do it with Jordan Grace, Deonna Purrazzo. You could have even did it with Chelsea Green, because like that table spot with Chelsea Green and Deonna Purrazzo went to like 2 tables off a ladder, disgusted. But also they showed up to work next Thursday like, like I can see it.
Oh yeah, I've been saying for a while, like you could put the world title, the Impact world title on, in my opinion, it would be fine if you went with Jordan Grace, Masha Slamovich, or Deonna Purrazzo. If built correctly. And that way also, like, because the Tessa thing is a black eye on Impact's history. It just is. And like, it would be good, in my opinion. This isn't the reason you would give a woman the championship, but like, I think there's like a cherry on top of the cake scenario here where it's like, someone like Jordan Grace deserves it already. But then in the history books too, it's like, it isn't just, every time you bring up a woman champion, it isn't Tessa. And then like you bring talking about all that. It's just like Tessa was the champion, but also check out Jordan Grace. She's the champion now. You know what I mean?
I agree with that with especially Grace and Purrazzo, just because like I think about how much work that they've put into Impact. Even when I was watching it spotty back and forth off and on the day, I always saw Jordan Grace and I always saw Deonna Purrazzo and Rich Swann and Eddie Edwards. They've been there since the dawn of time, and I think that they deserve all their flowers. You know, Motor City Machine Guns too. Like, they live there. That's their home. They live there.
They're the best. We love those guys.
I want to circle back to something you'd said about Steve Macklin, because so you were the one who called him generic, because Joel nearly got his ass kicked by Steve Macklin because Macklin thought it was him, which I feed it into, but I'm trying to get Joel beat up on every show. That's my
listen. I just be saying stuff, so don't take it personal.
Hey, Cresta, if it makes you feel any better, and I'm just gonna throw it out there. I've called Steve Macklin generic on this channel as well.
Oh, there's some haters.
Yeah.
Like, he's not
out here.
Okay, so let me say this. He is not Macklin. The person is not generic, but black trunks, black boots. I could do this. And are you Austin? Are you a young lion? Are you Kota Ibushi? You know what I mean? Like, it's no tea. It forces people, however, to focus on your personality. Because there's tons of Lucy LaDuca got called generic a RuPaul's Drag Race because of the blonde hair and the very cutesy wootsy. But she's now a cultural phenomenon with Let Loose. So Macklin, I remember Macklin's promos. I remember Macklin's wrestling matches. I remember what Macklin does in the ring. If you ask me to describe Macklin's gear, I'm going to be like, come on, Austin Theory look generic too. I mean, it's not me. It's not me. I didn't do this. I didn't do this, man. I didn't do shit. I didn't do this.
No, I agree. No, I agree with you. I'll back you up on that, because like because on one side, like you said, like it does make you focus on like the in-ring, because you're just watching him wrestling, and he has banger matches. Like nobody's like disputing that. He's killed it since he arrived at Impact.
Agreed.
But it's one, and I do like the actual gimmick when they do start like deep diving his career, like the military and stuff like that, and then you start kind of realizing it's like, oh yeah, he's got the really clean look. He looks like a guy who'd be like military. Like I get that, but I think you'd agree with me. What he looks like as just aesthetically on the screen, in the ring as a wrestler, it looks like you have turned the video game on for the first time. It's time to create a wrestler, and you just skip the whole process. You just start with the create a wrestler and just get into the ring.
It's not your fault. You're an amazing wrestler, but a lot of people, even John Cena had this problem when he first came out. Austin Theory has this problem now. Johnny Gargano, to an extent, has this problem. That's why he wears the colorful trunks. Like, it's nothing wrong with looking like a creator. There's nothing wrong with that. I can see it in my DMs now. Cresta Starr, you stupid fucking whatever. Like, I get it, but like, I could point out Macho Man Randy Savage from a silhouette. Yeah, I could point out maybe Hulk Hogan, Superstar Billy Graham. You know, I could pull out Ric Flair from a lineup. You know, and it's not your fault. You know, I blame society. You know, and if you want to wrestle me, that's fine. I understand, Steve Macklin. If we got heat, that's okay. We could wrestle. How much are you paying? And trust me, I'm gonna put you over the moment you grab me. I don't care. Yeah. I don't care.
Yes. Oh yeah. We'll make it clear right now. Like Steve Macklin, like we're saying, fantastic worker. I'm happy. I'm happy he's the right guy to be the Impact World Champion. With Josh Alexander going down, all the respect in the world to Steve Macklin, but it's a consistent conversation. It really is. It's like the one thing it seems like he's missing is just something about the look. That's like the one thing that just feels like just a one little tweak that would make put him over the top for a lot of people.
I'm not saying to go and be Danhausen or to go and be oh my God, what is his name with the beautiful hair and the robes from
Avalon, Peter Avalon?
No, from New Japan.
Beautiful hair and the robes.
It's not Okada. Is it Okada? Not the man with the beautiful Okada. Blonde hair and the cheekbones. Not him. The other guy with the beautiful Tanahashi.
Oh yeah, Tanahashi.
I was just saying Suji's just got this new robe, but
I'm not saying do that, but I'm like, you know, like I'm not trying to S on your D because I think. Oh no, let me say shit on your dick because S on your D can mean another. I try to get beat up respectfully. You know, I think he's an amazing wrestler. Again, I love the fact that the only person you kind of really lost to was Time Jacket. What's his name? Oh my God.
Kushida?
Yes. The only person you tapped to was Kushida. And even then that was like, you ain't messed up my arm for you're not doing that. I respect respect it. Listen, again, if you want to beat me up, that's fine. I'm a worker. I'm working from the time I wake up, baby. So poke at me.
For the record, I want none of the smoke, Steve Macklin. None at all. So congratulations, champ.
We're just gonna have a form a line here at Fightful with people. Steve Macklin's about to beat up on the who works here. We have a write-in question from a Joel P. It says, "Will you play wrestling games on your Twitch/TikTok?"
No. I don't. So I don't like sports and wrestling games because I get very frustrated very easy, and I like to watch wrestling. It's just not my zhuzh to play. I'd rather play like a Street Fighter. If wrestling games played like Street Fighter or a Tekken, I'd be down for it. But they don't. I want to create a character, and that's it. It's not my zhuzh. I enjoy the hell out of it. It's just not my zhuzh. Sorry.
It sounds like you love fighting games. Have you ever played Power Stone on the Dreamcast?
Many moons ago when I was a wee young lass.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. The reason I ask is because Power Stone and Power Stone 2 are my favorite fighting games of all time. Like, I still have a working Dreamcast, and I still play through that. Like, occasionally I go on there and just mentioning those games, like that's where my head goes to, is like those Capcom like fighting games or Street Fighter, of course, that kind of stuff.
And I'm more of an RPG fantasy person type of anyway, and I love puzzle games. So if Karrion Kross starred in God of War, maybe.
Right, I got you. Man, you know what? And there was a game you mentioned earlier. One of my biggest regrets, and I could always go back and do this now as an adult, which I probably will at some point. But one of my biggest regrets was when, I'll never forget this. I just have such a vivid memory of this time period of my life. I remember getting Super Mario RPG or renting it for the Super Nintendo. But while I had it rented, it was like around the holidays, and I wound up getting a Nintendo 64 for Christmas. And I just like shunned my Super Nintendo because now I had Mario 64 and it was like, whoa, 3D, like this is where it's at now. And I never went back to play Super Mario RPG, but I've heard by all accounts it was like one of the best RPGs ever.
Just for Gino, he needs to be in Super Smash Brothers or something. It was produced by Square Enix, so it was different to any other Mario game you've ever played. And Mario 64 doesn't do it justice because it's literally like if you've played Final Fantasy 5, 4, or 6, it plays almost like that. You run up, you've got your moves, whatever it is. I played it later on in life too. It's funny that you would say that because something similar happened to me. I had just got a Wii. I got Twilight Princess. And then 2 weeks later, I got World of Warcraft, and I never beat that game. I never beat that game. I never beat Twilight Princess because World of Warcraft, like, I could be a wizard.
Oh, man. Are you currently part of, like, oh, sorry, like, are you currently, like, still part of, like, a Warcraft, like, guild and everything? Is that, you do raids and all that, or?
It has been a very long time. I will say from doing World of Warcraft raiding, like I was in a server first guild. We did No Lights in the Darkness. That took a lot of practice. We were server first. It was Brutalis, which is also another boss, but it was very rough. It was very rough. And the amount of effort that it requires to do, I wouldn't be able to watch wrestling. I enjoy having a life. I like to go out and have a drink every now and then. I can't do that. I can't play World of Warcraft the way I was playing it before, you know.
They take it seriously. Like you gotta like be like, it's like practice. Like you got to meet up and do these raids and train and level up and all this stuff with your guild. And if you don't, they'll boot you and all. I didn't have to deal with all that because I played StarCraft, so it was just like me and a few of my buddies would just always.
Who'd you play in StarCraft? Because I play StarCraft too.
Ooh, like what race did I play as? Proton.
Hey, Protoss Master.
Protoss.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yes, Protoss. Yes. It's been a while. I used to play. I played the hell out of Brood War. That was my era. And then I played some StarCraft too, but that came out while I was in college. So I just couldn't, and I didn't have a computer that was like powerful enough to really run it right. Like if like my screen minimized for any reason, I couldn't reopen the game. Like just because but my buddies still to this day play here in Atlanta, and every now and then they're like, dude, you gotta log in and play again. But I feel like I'm so far behind not playing for the last, 10 plus years that I would just go on there and get destroyed so quickly. That's not even gonna be worth playing, But no, yeah, I love StarCraft. That was a really And that was a game that like made me feel smart. When I would beat people at that, I'd be like, it was my mind that beat someone. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
But yeah, that's cool that you even know about StarCraft. My buddy, shout out to I'll never mention his name ever again, ever in history of the show. Shout out to my old friend, Kevin Zhao. His real name was Huafe. He was, I don't know where he was from. Probably he came from another country, went to my middle school and high school. He was the smartest kid I've ever known in my life. He used to program my TI calculator to like do my algebra for me and stuff. This kid was awesome. And he was our hookup for stream keys. So like if we, so because we were too poor to buy any of these games, allegedly back in the day, he would send us stream keys so we could play like StarCraft and Counter-Strike and like all this stuff, without buying the game allegedly. So shout out to Kevin Zhao here on the show. Hopefully he doesn't get arrested for that after I just brought that up.
Girl. Blizzard.
Narkin years later here.
Yeah, no, knowing Blizzard, like you said, Cresta, knowing Blizzard, they might come after me. So this is all alleged, not real.
For money. They ain't hurt. Blizzard ain't hurt for money. Blizzard. I used to love Blizzard, but I will poop on them all. I love you, Blizzard, but you ain't hurting for money. You ain't hurting for money. Stop it.
Cresta, you're doing the Collision post show starting June 17th. What do you expect from this show that doesn't have a venue for the opening episode here? But what are you expecting when it comes to Collision first show, and then kind of maybe longer term plans? And it seems like it hinges around one man.
I'm expecting that when the show starts, we're gonna hear look in my eyes. Yo, okay, I get it. We all work with people that we're not gonna like. I completely understand. Sometimes you may even want to punch your coworker. But there's a lot of money on this table. And you're doing the best you can with what you got, Mr. Khan. So I respect it. However, I don't see this brand. I see this brand split going the same way WWE goes. We're going to have it like this for 2 to 3 business weeks. And then someone, either a higher up or the fans, are going to be like, well, I want to see Jade on this show, or I want to see FTR on this show, or I want to see the Bucks on this show. And what you gonna do? Rule. Yeah. Wild card, pre-seasonal, invitational to the third power of 10. You know what I mean? Like, so I want it to be good because I do enjoy AEW. I like the product. And I say this as a joke. Let me preface and say I say this as a joke. But maybe Vince was on to something making y'all fight backstage because y'all don't know how to act. You want to argue and make a whole new show? That's a joke. That is a joke. That is a joke. Don't fight your coworkers. You'll get arrested. That's a joke. But at the same time, it's like, bro, if everyone's making $1 million and y'all got expensive contracts, there's no law that says I have to talk to you, bro. All I got to do is not kill you in the ring. As soon as this match is over, don't talk to me. I'll spit on your grave. Come. Bro, like I personally don't understand it. I have definitely worked with people who are like, yo, if you were on fire, I'd be like, ooh, or I might be like, oh, let me get my hands warm. But at the same time, I'm not gonna let you fuck up my bag. Are you kidding me? So I'm expecting good yucks. The brand split's gonna last maybe 2 to 3 weeks. And I want more Danhausen. That's what I expect. Put a title on Danhausen.
My official prediction, by the way, I think we talked about it on the spotlight. I talked about it on True Heel Heat earlier today with SP3 and those guys. If I had to make a prediction, I would guess that Tony Khan is going to fold and we're going to get Collision in Chicago. CM Punk will be there and so will Ace Steel. Is my honest thought. I think Tony will cave.
I feel like because even if you let CM Punk go, you are literally throwing money away, and I cannot imagine what that buyout clause is. And this is just speculation nation. You know what I mean? I don't know anything. So if you guys like Cresta ain't say shit. I don't know nothing. I'm making this up. So it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, it makes sense to keep him. Like, I didn't see CM Punk wrestle in his first WWE run when everyone was like chanting for his name, bro. When I started watching wrestling, people were chanting for his name until he showed up in AEW, and he didn't show up right away. People were chanting this man's name. And even now, to a lesser extent, people still want to know what's going on with CM Punk. You would be a fool. You would be a fool. And I get we're not all going to get along with people, but you would be a fool to throw that kind of money away. And not for nothing, I'm not trying to say to diminish anything. It's not like he did something really out of pocket where you need to be fired. He said some out of pocket shit on stage. Y'all got into a fist fight. I grew up in the hood. Niggas fight. Oh, I'm sorry.
You say whatever you want. I don't know. We might have new rules here that I haven't been officially told yet. So.
You can bleep it if you want. Like, people fight. Sometimes you got to get it out your system. I'm not condoning it, but sometimes people fight. But I bet you punch someone in the face after they even mess with you, they're not gonna do it no more. I'm not condoning it, but like, you gonna let somebody mess up your bag, and where you gonna go? WWE? Because you know Punk ain't gonna go to the Fed. Punk gonna go to Impact. You gonna go to New Japan, and I'm not saying that he couldn't, but he could. But like, you gonna throw that money away? Be for real.
Yeah.
Like, y'all could be mad. Y'all have to shoot the fair one outside, but be for real. That's like letting the Bucks walk away or letting Omega walk away. Be for real. Be astronomically for real right now.
Yeah, I think there's a balance of it without getting too into it, because we talk about it a lot on our show, but like, it all comes down at this point to like the negotiations and the leverage and stuff of like. CM Punk, I feel like, needs to stop asking, like, if like Ace Steel is the breaking point, like, sorry, Ace can't be there, but you can. Like, let's figure this out. Like, everything else seems to be figured out. But it's one of those things where, like, ultimately, it would make for incredible television for him to be back. I'm not ignorant or stupid, but like at the same time, I also think at a certain point it just starts hurting the company to like keep bending over backwards for this guy. So it's a weird precedent to like, but CM Punk's also an anomaly. He's the only CM Punk that they have. But I also think if you're going to make these kind of demands and be in this kind of position, like the only kind of person, like if this was the WWE, for example, you better be Roman Reigns if you're making these if you're going to be
Brock
like this.
Lesnar.
You know what I mean? Yeah, right.
Ago.
Like, exactly. Like, that's like, you got to be Hogan in the 90s. You got to be Austin in 98. Like, that's like.
The Rock in 98.
Right. And I just don't see Punk as like that level anymore. Like, I think he's so super popular and they can make a lot of money, but yeah, it just is what it is. But but like I said, I think by the time Collision rolls around, I think we are going to have CM Punk back as a part of the show. And hopefully, if he comes back, it will be great TV. We'll just hope there's not repeated patterns and this keeps happening.
I mean, if it happens again, then I think that Tony Khan, you have to be like, listen, I don't care how much money you draw. We're not going to keep doing this in my locker room, because I feel like we always have to loop back to Hogan. That's a prime example. Hogan, you drew, but at what cost? How many people were upset, never got a real push or anything like that for you and your friends? And I'm not saying CM Punk is like that at all. I personally enjoy CM Punk, and the limited knowledge, because I'm not someone who's going to like really, really read the dirt sheets, because I don't want to know that much. I'm here to be sports entertained.
I'm the same way. Sure.
But from what I understand, it sounds like CM Punk was talking crap about you guys in the most media scrum. You came to see him, and y'all got into a fist fight. Great. Again, you're not supposed to be fighting on company grounds, but I don't know the whole situation. And I'm adult enough to say that I don't know the whole situation. But from the outside looking in, if y'all got to go out back and shoot fight for 30 minutes till it's out your system, get it together, because you both signed contracts. If you don't like each other, you don't like each other. What's the problem? Again, that's me not knowing the whole situation, and that's okay. That's okay to not know the whole situation. But it's also like, just be sports entertained. I don't know. I hope it works out for the best, But again, on the outside looking in, it sounds like y'all just got into a fight, and it was like, well, I'm not saying sorry. I don't know the whole situation. So go outside and back and fight. I don't know. That's my answer to everything. Go outside and fight. I don't know.
Cresta, last one before we get you out of here. Coolest thing in your room?
Ask everybody.
I'm kidding.
It was tough because I know you got a lot of stuff in there.
Well, this is a green screen, love. This is a lie.
Oh, that is a green screen? That's
you
a good
tell
looking
that,
green
Jensen?
screen.
Yeah.
Huh?
There's a green screen, love. It's
Well, no, I can tell it now because I can see the corner. I can see the corner of the screen moving now. Yeah. No, I didn't notice. I thought you were sitting in front of a bookcase this entire time. I actually thought.
There.
Oh wow.
I will actually show you the coolest thing in my room. Hold on.
I got tricked by a green screen. Holy shit.
Yeah, you could tell that was a green screen. I can tell when she moved.
I mean, I can tell now with like the. No.
It's my actual Stone Cold Steve Austin belt.
There we go. Look at that.
Let me take it out. And this is special and sentimental to me because I am someone who is a huge nerd, but I am always someone who changes their mind. So to invest this much money into something that I think is cool, but has no other reason but being cool is pretty cool to me. I actually brought it from WWE.com. I'm so cheap. I am so cheap. The fact that I actually brought one, for a solid month, I didn't know how to act. I was walking around places like I'm champ. This is one of the coolest things. And now I know why people would fall on the floor when you get hit with one. It hurt.
Just be careful out there, Cresta, because I don't know if you know the unwritten rule, but if you carry around a replica title at a wrestling show, it's 24/7 rules. So like if a fan comes up and tries to pin you for it, like be prepared to defend it.
Oh, y'all didn't know? I have like 2 wrestling moves. I have a whole wrestling gimmick. The coolest thing would be because my wrestler is a bully. So once I get you in a side headlock takeover, Wet Willie, ew.
Oh.
Then it's in your nose, ew. And then it's in your mouth. That's my finisher called the sewer.
Ooh. and then they just tap out. They either tap out or pass out.
Exactly, because it's so nasty. Earwax, boogies, and you're gonna flush it down the toilet, which is your mouth.
Oh wow.
Book me, yo. What's up, Scott?
Gross just thinking about it. Oh,
From the moment I wake up, I'm working.
gross just thinking about it. I'm gonna pull this on the kids now. Like, they ain't gonna mess with me at all. Start doing this to
Headlock,
them. Get them
Wet
in line.
Willie, the nose, and down the toilet. Tap.
Oh my gosh. Oh,
Dude, I can
Cresta-
see like Jimmy Lloyd doing this on GCW. Like if someone's gonna steal this, it's that here's this idea, Cresta. You need to get out there and then do it before someone takes it from you.
I mean, I got bad knees.
Cresta, thank you for joining us today. Let everybody know where they can find you at.
Ladies and gentlemen, it has been a pleasure. Jeremy, Stephen, thank you so much for having me. You guys can find me Wednesdays, Fridays on Twitch. Monday streams are gone because Grandma Star is old and she requires a lot of attention, and I have to go far and fuck my life. Thursdays, I'll be here on the post-Impact show over on Fightful. And on Saturdays, starting June 20th or whenever Collision decides to come out when it finds a home.
June 17th.
June 17th, same difference. Round it down. I will be live, myself and Iridian and Rick. We will be live talking everything post AEW. So be nice. Impact, Loyal, and Faithful have been very nice. You AEW fans or WWE fans, I got my spray bottle. Please be nice. I'm so sad. I'll cry on camera. I don't care.
Cresta, thank you so much for joining us. And apologies that you got to deal with Joel every single Thursday.
I love Joel. I'll be all right. I love you, Joel. You're a mentor. You're an educator. I don't care what they say about you.
You are the one. Follow Cresta on Twitter. Check out the TikTok. Check out the Twitch. All the links are down below there in the description. Everyone can go follow her there. Check out the Impact post shows every single Thursday here on Fightful. And then starting June 17th, check out the AEW Collision post show. Cresta, thank you again for joining us. We really appreciate it. Guys, stick around. Thank you to Cresta Starr for joining us in the creator spotlight. I prematurely hit the stop recording button on our interview that we recorded over last weekend. But thank you to Cresta Starr. She will be on the Impact post show tonight with Joel Pearl reviewing the Go Home show for Impact Under Siege. Then she'll be back tomorrow with Joel Pearl reviewing Impact Under Siege. And then starting June 17th, she will be with Iridian and Riccacino reviewing AEW Collision every Saturday. She does great work. Go check out the Twitch. Go check out TikTok. Check out Linktree. All the links are below right here in the description of this video. So go check out Cresta, support Cresta, all the great work she is doing in this space. All right, everybody, we're going to wrap things up here on a Thursday. It is a busy day. I've already covered the Shawn Michaels media call. Yes, I do work while our interview is running, everyone. Love this business. Cover the Shawn Michaels media call, Tony Khan media call coming up in a couple hours. We have a Fightful Overbooked media call at 5 p.m. Eastern. What is it going to be? No idea. Worked myself into a shoot by doing a Fightful Overbooked media call. So that's at 5 p.m. Eastern. That's on FightfulOverbooked.com. Everybody can go over there. Go check out all the great shows we're doing over there, including Tag Talk, Coexisting, Indeed, which Big Dick MLJ was on this past week. That aired yesterday. New Japan Bread Club, new episode of that went up. FMC every Tuesday with myself and SP3 talking basketball and Share Delaware. We signed up for the Circle. So maybe we might be going on we might be going on hiatus in September because SP3 and I will be part of the Circle. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed, everybody. That happens. And In the Weeds every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on Fightful Overbooked with myself and Joel Pearl. We had a great interview with Isaiah Broner that was on Monday. We had a great chat with Andreas Hale from Sporting News. That was on Wednesday, talking Double or Nothing. And tomorrow, I will not tell you who the guest is, but things are looking promising for a veteran, a wrestling legend. Some people might call him a legend. I don't want to spoil it. I don't like saying things until they are like officially official and like they are there, and that's about as official as you can get. But we're getting a guest that I never thought we could. Not a current wrestler. I don't want to like put that out there. People are like, oh my gosh, they're gonna get Bryan Danielson. It's not Bryan Danielson. Not a current wrestler or anything like that. But yes, a legend, a veteran who's been involved and will continue to be involved with wrestling. Just a name that I just didn't think would be someone of like, oh yeah, that's an interview we'll do. And seems like it might be an interview we'll do. So that could happen and it could lead to more stuff. So that'll be tomorrow. Tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern on Fightful Overbooked, In the Weeds with myself and Joel Pearl. Thank you to Wrestle Rumble for sponsoring today's show. Everyone go over to WrestleRumble.com. Congrats to our 3 winners for winning and contacting Joel Pearl and getting your free entries into the Night of Champions and Double or Nothing Pick'ems. I think that's everything, everybody. We'll be back next week talking all the fallout from this giant weekend of wrestling. Everybody have fun this weekend. There's no shortage of wrestling. Not only, we didn't even get to this, but not only do we have Under Siege tonight, we have Night of Champions on Saturday afternoon. We have Double or Nothing on Sunday night. We have NXT Battleground, which is up against Double or Nothing on Sunday night. So that's going to be busy. We got Best of Super Juniors. We have the semifinals on Friday morning, if you live in the United States. And then we have the finals on Sunday morning. So basically every big company is running something. There's ROH tonight. There's an ROH taping. Oh, it's already been taped, but an ROH TV show tonight. So we've got New Japan, WWE, AEW, NXT, Impact, all running major events this weekend. I don't know what more you can ask for as a wrestling fan. I would ask for less as someone who has to cover all this stuff. I'll be here covering it. Everyone can go to Fightful.com to check out all the coverage. Everyone go sign up to Fightful Select for all the scoops that I'm sure Sean will get. And we'll catch y'all next week. Bye, everybody.